3 against the Angels.
Now,
and the Astros have lost like 4 in a row. So
they've lost. No one wants it. If the Royals ever had a chance down the stretch,
the Royals gave it away in June. Let's be honest.
They gave it away in June, but Houston's lost 4 straight games. Detroit's lost 7 straight games. Cleveland deserves all the credit because I do think, it's a combo, but Cleveland, I think, gets the lion's share of what they've done.
I think so too, but the Tigers will get the lion's share of the conversation.
Correct.
I'll say until the playoffs start.
Until the playoffs
If the Tigers don't make the playoffs, you'll have this conversation until the wild card round starts. Maybe that Tuesday and Wednesday as the wild card's going on, knowing that the Tigers aren't playing in it.
It was last year. They just did the opposite. Detroit did the exact opposite, where last year they were amazing down the stretch to sneak in, and then this year they've done everything they can to sneak out of the playoffs. And Skubal, I think, got in his head a little bit because
that
he
sixth
hit
inning, dude.
And I felt so bad for him because clearly it wasn't what he was trying to do, and David Fry got drilled in the face, and 99 to the dome on a bunt attempt.
Right, but also, like, you're up 2-0 in the 6th inning, nobody out and a man on first. They're giving you an out, and you snap the ball between your legs to try to get him at first.
Yeah.
You throw the ball between your legs, no look.
Yeah.
Like, that's a you're up 8, although they wouldn't be sacrificing over to second if you're they were sacrificing him to second base. Not from second to third, to second base, sacrificing him. And you go and field the ball, he had time to pick it up and throw to first. Because by the time the ball flew over the first baseman's head, he still wasn't at first. He bends over, grabs it, and just snaps it between his legs, no look, and overthrows the quarterback. Or snaps it over the punter's head, or the holder's head. Like, you can't do that. And he got in his own head, and at that point, and they score 3 runs without hitting the ball out of the infield against Skubal in a game where the Tigers probably felt like we have to win this one. And then A.J. Hinch overmanages. You've got Conley in the game, gets the first 2 guys out, walks a guy, and you take him out of the game. And you bring somebody else in who gives up 3 straight hits. And now you're down 5-2 in that game at that point because the Guardians have a pretty damn good bullpen even without
Ortiz and Clase.
And Clase. They've still got a pretty good bullpen. You're down 5-2 at that point, and it's like, well, that was the game. Good chance, but that 6th inning is something that I think Tigers fans are going to talk about for a long time.
Yeah, I would agree. And again, it sounded like Fry's okay and that he was able to move, but that was a terrifying. I mean, that was horrific, and just the emotion you could see Skubal just crushed.
Yeah,
and you saw some of his comments post game, and you feel for him because I mean, you're watching your team collapse. You're the ace. You accidentally drill a guy in the face when it really wasn't your fault because he's trying to get a bunt down. So it wasn't necessarily like he's headhunting or it got away from it. It wasn't a normal pitch. It's probably not even hitting him.
Right. Yeah. And also, like, Boddicker was on this morning and saying, like, when a guy squares the bunt, he would throw it right at his midsection.
Yeah.
Right at him because it's hard to bunt when the ball's coming right at your stomach.
And you're probably trying to.
And Skubal might have been attempting that. He squared the bunt. I'm going to throw it at him, but not at that spot. I'm not going to throw it at him there. I'm going to throw it at him more at his hip. I'm going to aim for when he squares that, that midsection belly button area because he's squaring the bunt. That's where I'm going to throw the baseball. It's going to be hard for him to do that. And it got away from him. And clearly he was pretty distraught. But, he was fine through 5 innings. Like, he was Tariq Skubal through 5 innings. He gave up a couple of base runners. You're up 2-0. Gave up a couple of base runners. They're going into the 6th. You could probably throw a couple more innings. And then that happens. And it's just one of those to where it's kind of what this season has been for the Tigers since they started their collapse. It's an unbelievable – it would be one of the greatest comebacks we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. And 15 and a half games out in July – it's the largest deficit. They've already done this. Okay, they've already made history. The largest deficit overcome to tie or take the lead in a division or league from 1969 on, or league 1900 to 1968.
Wow.
Is the largest deficit in a division ever to come back and even tie. And right now they have the tiebreaker, so they are technically in the stand. You look at every standing, Guardians are on top.
Yeah.
Because they are up 7-4 in the season series with 2 more to play.
I will never understand this Cleveland team. I will not understand
11-game deficit in September. They were out 11 games in September. That's the largest September deficit overcome ever in Major League Baseball to tie or lead a division. 11 games out.
It's 23 days ago.
Yeah, 11 games out, and they are now leading the division with 5 games. 5 games to play, 2 head-to-head. They could leave this series 2 games out.
Yeah,
like they could leave the series with the Tigers taking control and going into the postseason. Cleveland's mission to me, win one of the next 2. Detroit's mission is to take the next 2.
Yeah,
Cleveland, you win one of the next 2, you leave there tied with the tiebreaker, and you've got the Rangers at home for 3. And the Tigers go to Boston for 3.
How about Cole Reagans last night?
Oh, yep, right. 10
strikeouts in 5 innings and looked pretty good besides was it 2-run home run?
I always said that Cole Reagans would be on the mound when the Royals get eliminated. I've always said that, But, yes, they got mathematically eliminated while winning last night. They had to win out and have the Rangers and Astros and Guardians.
Yeah, it was
Astros and Guardians lose out and all that, and Rangers, whatever.
But it was nice seeing Cole Reagans look good yet again. As far as what is he going to look like coming back from injury, his stuff's still electric. Yeah. It is still great. Salvador Perez is inching closer to another 100 RBI season 2
right.
Last night. He's now 97.
Needs 3, right?
He has 3 more. Yep. Michael Garcia had 3 hits, which is nice to see because he's been slumping a little bit.
Everybody in the lineup had a hit.
Is that what it was?
Even pinch hitting John Rave. Everybody,
you're right.
Everybody that
every single person
plate appearance last night had a hit in the game, and you see a lot of guys in that lineup that you're like, okay, this can be, something you imagine coming up in next year. If they're a year from now, if we're talking about September 24th, 2026, we could be talking about a game in which the Royals won, 8-4, right?
8-4, yeah.
Yeah, 8-4 because Long came in.
Yep.
And gave up the couple of runs.
I like we just go, Long came in. So that's what happened.
Yeah, so it was 8-2, but Long came in, so it was 8-4, obviously. But, you look at what took place last night, and I think there's something that we should also address and talk about, and this will be a big conversation, I think, once the season is over, which it is, mathematically over. But if you haven't noticed, and I get it if you haven't, because this is a year that hasn't been great, and they got close, but then they had that awful, road trip that essentially knocked them out of contention. But Jonathan India has 1 more year left on his contract of team control. Team control, 1 more year. And he's just not playing. I mean, the last time he got in a game was 3 days ago, and that was a pinch hit.
I still do wonder.
Well, pinch run, and then he eventually got a plate appearance in that game. He's not playing at all. They are not playing Jonathan India. They are not playing him.
The pinch run's interesting because I was going to say, is he injured still? Because it does feel like we're going to find out that he was injured all. I mean, we've talked about it, but you don't pinch run a guy who's injured.
Last time he started a game was September 16th. It's the last time Jonathan India started a game. September 16th.
Do you bring him back?
He has started 5 games in September.
Do you bring him back? I mean,
I think the Royals are saying no. I think the Royals are saying Jonathan India is not a part of our plan. Like, Kaggs is playing right field. Yaz is not playing right field.
Yeah,
right? Yaz has moved. So Kaggs is playing right. Carter's playing every day. Vinny's doing the Vinny thing. Salvi, Isbell, when he was healthy, would be playing every day. But Tolbert's in there playing, which is perfectly fine. And then Rave came in and played some center field. They've got Adam Frazier and Michael Massey playing second base.
Well, that's the interesting one to me is Adam Frazier, if he keeps playing over Michael Massey.
Well, it could be a platoon. It could be Frazier and Massey at second base.
Because Frazier can still hit lefties. I know they're both left-handed.
I know they're both left-handed, but it's like, I trust Frazier against lefties more than I trust Massey against lefties. It's not a traditional platoon.
No.
But it might be one of those to where Massey is the strong side of platoon when you have that guy going up against righties.
And you like the pinch hit ability of Adam Frazier.
Yes.
I didn't think of it, but that's a very interesting point of India's not playing. Frazier still is, so I wonder if they're saying, hey, this might be Is it legit? Can is the outlier the previous season in Kansas City for Frazier, and this is more or less who he's going to be?
Can Frazier be your number 8 hitter, second baseman on this team?
Correct.
Right before Isbell. Now you'd have back-to-back lefties.
He can play left, right, and second, and I think a little third and first if you had
He'll play
to.
Wherever.
But you're not playing shorter center. But most of the corner spots.
Put him at catcher if need be. I bet he'd put on the tools of ignorance
with that mustache. I think he could do about anything
if you ask him to do it.
But that's you're probably right. That does lead me to believe that Frazier and Massey, as of now, might be better suited than India for next year.
It's not your traditional where, well, hold on, how are you going to platoon with 2 lefties? I know that may not be what they end up doing, but if they look at second base and say that India is not part of the future, then, do you move him for and you wouldn't get much for him. You're not going to get Brady Singer back for Jonathan India.
No.
But do you move Jonathan India, or is he a throw-in part of a deal to help get more of a power bat? Like the beautiful part about and the development of what we've seen the last couple of weeks. I think what's happened the last couple of weeks for the Royals is there's somewhat of an off-season plan that can start to get a little less blurry. Let's just go back to July 31st to now. We know when they made the deal for Bergert, Kolek, and Falter, and Bergert with the arm, certainly worry. Anytime you're talking about an elbow, you worry. Ursay, you're talking about a shoulder, you worry. And I don't know how serious the shoulder is. I don't know, I don't know how honest they are in that if the Royals were in contention in a game back, then Ursay would still be pitching. And once they sort of got eliminated, they didn't want to risk it and you shut him down. Could be the case. Could absolutely be the case. But I still get concerned any time you're talking about your setup man and one of your best relievers with a shoulder issue and being put on the shelf for the rest of the season. Bergert with an elbow. And so, you've already got the, Bubic coming back from that. Reagan's coming back. It's good to see Reagan's back and pitching like that to give you some confidence going into the offseason that, okay, Reagan's is back healthy. So, a full offseason and everything, getting ready for next year. Lugo with the back injury, concern. Michael Wacha might still be concussed. I'm not sure. He's certainly pitching like he's still concussed. The baseball is getting concussed when he's throwing it towards home plate by the opposing batter's bats. That's a problem. But this is also as many innings as he's pitched in I don't know how long. So it just might be that Michael Wacha, this is what he was going to be if he didn't have the concussion. This is just what he was going to. But since they made that trade, you could see the offseason come in to a little more focus in terms of them saying, we don't have to go out and attack pitching anymore. But they traded Brady Singer for offense, right? They traded pitching for offense. And we've seen that if you're going to win a division, you need to have depth in your pitching staff. You're not going to have 2024 Royals starting pitching health. That was such an anomaly. That was such a gift from the health gods to the Royals. And they made the postseason via tiebreaker over the Mariners. And a gift in that those 3 guys, your big 3, started 94, 95 games last year.
Insane.
Reagans, Lugo, and Wacha. And the only time they really missed was Wacha with the foot. That was it. But Reagans and Lugo, and those guys finished top 3, top 4 in Cy Young. Like, they were healthy. They didn't have health at their starting staff this year. But you found Noah Cameron without the health.
Yeah.
You found and you traded for Ryan Bergert. So
and
maybe
Kolek.
And Kolek because of the health. And if Bubic comes back and can stay healthy, that's an if. But if Bergert and Kolek look good, and Lugo and Wacha and Reagans, Bubic might be a guy that can just be your stud reliever that comes out and could be the back end of an opener or something like that, to where that's the way that you keep him healthier all season long rather than have him try to get 180 innings on that arm. But with the offense, it comes into a little more focus with India not playing, with Massey and Frazier playing more, with Kaggs and Wright, with Carter playing every single day. Is this what next year is going to look like? Catcher DH for Carter and Salvi. They're going to be playing every day.
Would love it.
But what Carter has done, and this is what I think is going to be really interesting this offseason, because, again, they traded Singer for a bat. What Carter's bat has done is given the Royals the option of taking one of their best trade prospect pieces in a high school catcher that people love and think is going to be really good, that was the higher rated high school catcher in Blake Mitchell over Carter Jensen, that now Carter is hitting at the big leagues. It's translating from the minors to the big leagues. His catching is translating from the minors to the big leagues. You can now trade Blake Mitchell for a power bat. You don't have to trade Bubich or Bergert or Noah Cameron.
Yeah.
We were talking about trading your pitching for a power bat because you didn't have enough hitting to supplement that. So could you trade Carter or Blake Mitchell? No, because you didn't know which one was going to ascend and be the guy. You needed one of them to take over for Salvi.
Yeah.
Carter has not only looked good, he might have given the Royals another gift in that they can make their big splash this offseason with Blake Mitchell for a power bat, for a team that needs their future catcher. And if Carter's going to look like somewhat like this, and you can add a power bat, and Blake Mitchell is the guy you move, and you keep your pitching intact, you start to see the offseason come into focus a little bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe India's a throw-in with Blake Mitchell.
I like it.
Maybe it's Blake Mitchell in India for a power bat, a team that needs a future catcher and a guy that can, we need an on-base guy. Let's go get India. And then they have India, and they're like, we need somebody better. So then you move on from that guy. But he's got 1 year left of team control. It would be the same as signing Adam Frazier to a 1 year deal.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're walking from Jonathan India after 2026 anyway.
It'd be cheaper, I think, for Frazier in India.
So I think the next few days will be interesting to see what happens as well. But it's going to be a fascinating offseason because the Royals have a real opportunity here to make a splash trade that they got to get it right, but they've got a real true chip to trade that would be coveted that is blocked by two players in his own organization. We'll see what happens, and that's a lot to do with how awesome Carter has been. That's the work of Carter, development of Carter, everything he's put in to be a guy that ascended past Blake Mitchell. And it was always Blake Mitchell, Blake Mitchell, Blake Mitchell, and Carter. Blake Mitchell, Blake Mitchell. Well, where's Carter going to move to? Blake Mitchell, can Carter play right field? Blake Mitchell, Carter's got a great arm. Could he be third and you move Michael Garcia to second? Blake Mitchell, now it's Carter, Blake Mitchell. We'll see what he moves to organizationally. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. It's your season. It's your shot. The NFL season, man, it's rolling. And every single touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scores to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And let me tell you, if you're a TD bettor, anytime touchdown bettor, Monday night was fun. Monday night was a good night because there were a lot of touchdowns. How about a... Cynthia Freeland coming up at 11 o'clock. We'll talk some college football today as well, but Jack Johnson hanging out with us. And Jack, you were in Wichita just a little bit ago.
And
you'll be heading back to Wichita as well. But it's crazy how you can send your voice all the way to Wichita from 5 feet from here. But you know, our conversation that Sterling and I had there at the end of last segment, you know, we started talking about the Tigers collapse and the Guardians surge, but the Royals being eliminated. And what we've seen is Jonathan India has not started a game since September 16th. So is that an indication of what the Royals are seeing from this group of players and what they want for next year? If that's Frazier and Massey in an odd platoon, that Frazier bats better against lefties than Massey would. So is he a guy that's the weak platoon, but you could play Frazier in different spots, great bat off the bench, Massey the strong side platoon against righties, whatever that may be. But I don't know if India is now out and the Royals have moved on. Sterling brought up maybe those injuries have continued to nag them, and now that they're out of contention, essentially no longer have to fight through the injuries, I think is a possibility, because that last game that he started was the first game against Seattle when they lost, and it was like, okay, season's kind of done at this point. You lost 12-5, and since then he's appeared in 3 games. So I think there is something to what Sterling brought up in the injury. But Jack, your thoughts on that and what I think Carter has done not only is phenomenal to see the bat and you know, leading off a few times and coming through there, but I think he has created and given J.J. Picollo a nice little hot stove gift in that this offseason you don't have to trade Noah Cameron or Bergert or a pitching prospect for Shields for an outfield bat. You could trade a guy who's one of the top 100 prospects in your organization in Blake Mitchell, who had always, Jack, been ahead of Carter. It was Blake Mitchell, and then where's Carter going to move to? Is Carter going to be a third baseman or right fielder? Blake Mitchell, catcher. Carter, he's athletic enough to play in the outfield, right? He could play left field, right field. He's got a big arm. That'd be fun. His bat will play wherever he goes, you know? Is Carter a trade piece, right? But Carter, to his credit, ascending, staying healthy, and has now given J.J. Picollo an opportunity to trade Blake Mitchell and maybe even India combined in a trade to go and get a bat, and you don't have to touch your depth of the pitching staff because you're going to need that next year. We learned that this year. 2024 is not going to happen again for a long time to have that much health with your starting staff. It just doesn't happen in baseball. They got a gift from the health gods last year. What do you make of how much do you think in focus is the offseason coming for the Royals?
I believe it's really coming into focus. You know you don't need to target any starting pitching. You might need to go after a reliever or two, though you saw Steven Cruz take a big step forward. Jonathan Bowen's taking a step forward. Luinder Avila has kind of turned into one of those guys as well. So maybe you say, hey, we can develop pitching. We really don't need to spend any money there. All of the focus needs to be on a bat, a middle-of-the-order bat. You know, getting better depth for the bench because they just didn't have it this year. That was another big issue of this offense is you loved to platoon a lot, and he didn't have a very good bench. When it comes to the idea of trading a Jonathan India or a Blake Mitchell, that is something I did clock about a week ago with Jonathan India is, well, he's not even playing against lefties anymore. Yeah. And even if there were injuries, you know, this is a guy that still needs to earn his spot next year. I don't believe it's an automatic thing where, hey, you're banged up and not a great year, but you're going to be back at second base. There's nothing for what he's done this year that should allow the Royals to say, oh, we're not even worried about it. He should be fine next year. Because my pushback is, okay, let's say he is healthy. Let's say that he goes into spring, he never has a quad injury, an ankle injury, a head injury because he got hit in the head. Yeah. Let's say all these things didn't happen. What's the ceiling of Jonathan India? Well, you take out the rookie year where he won Rookie of the Year. He's a 248 hitter with a 340, 350 OBP, which sounds nice, but it's very clear that when he came to Kansas City, that walk rate that he had, the discipline, gone. So that type of hitter, is that worth it to be the worst defender at any position? To me, I would push back and say, I'd almost roll the dice with Michael Massey and see if he can do it, because at least if he's a 240 hitter, he plays really good defense over there. But yeah, you could bring back Adam Frazier as a one-year deal guy. He was very beloved in the clubhouse, and he's played well since the deadline. But when it comes to moving some of these guys, with Jonathan India, could you get much? I don't know. He's going to be making.
It might be a throw-in. Like
Yeah,
I said, if
a
it's
throw-in with
if
Mitchell.
it's Blake Mitchell and then a pot sweetener
Yeah.
that, hey, we'll throw India. And, hey, India was injured last year, so you're actually getting a cheaper price for India as we throw in here. We don't have to trade India, but we're willing to throw him into the deal. You know,
You absolutely could. And top 100 prospects are top 100 prospects. It sounds great to the fan base when you acquire that and it's, hey, we're building our farm system. What I would wonder with the Royals is, are they waiting for Blake Mitchell to increase his trade value? Because he had the broken hamate bone in spring training. That happened very early on, into the workouts and stuff. And then he comes back in Quad Cities, he hit 207.
Yeah.
He's still getting on base at a high clip. That's always been constant with Blake. But I would say that, Carter, when he was working his way through the level, it wasn't the high batting average. It was the high on-base percentage. So maybe teams look at it and say, elite defensive catcher, he gets on base. We know that bat is going to turn into something, and you could leverage that. Or the Royals could wait till June or July of next year when he's hitting 280, maybe getting on base at a 400 clip, and now you can get that big bat. But I also feel they need to get the big bat in the offseason. I don't want to wait till June or July.
Right, agreed. Yeah.
You can't wait around and try to go with this same offense again in March and April of next year. And I'm out on the, just move guys around, right? You can make it work, right? Blake Mitchell can go be a right fielder or third baseman. You made Jack Caglione a right fielder. We're really going to put two non-outfielders in the outfield 2 to 3 years down the road.
But they both have big arms.
Yeah, it's hilarious that it's like, put him at third base. It could translate. Like, Michael Garcia is not even a third baseman. He's turned himself into one.
Yeah.
He's a shortstop at heart. So I would say with Blake Mitchell, if Carter's your pick, and we know Salvador Perez is coming back next year, I'm not sure you should operate as a team trying to make the postseason of, we got to look to, 2028 when Blake might be here. He might.
Yeah.
He also may never turn into something.
Right.
And it's nice to know that you're seeing this from Carter. He's the local kid, and he can be your catcher of the future instead of Blake Mitchell.
What are the odds? And this is where, you throw numbers at
Scale of 1 to 10. What are the odds? Odds
3,
are
2, 1,
7.
Nailed it.
He wasn't here for that.
Okay.
That seems way more
impressive.
impressive.
Right. When the Royals had those 4 first-round picks and they spent them on the pitchers, and you're like, man, if you get a good starter out of this, a good bullpen guy, maybe a trade piece and a guy that flames out, then, hey, that's what you're going to have in baseball, right? Well, they got Singer and Bubich out of it. Lynch has been okay, and Jackson Kowar never materialized, okay? But you throw numbers at it. What are the odds of 2 high school catchers hitting on both those guys in the draft and them ascending to being MLB productive players that can help you win a division, help you win a pennant? Well, if it's 50-50, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you did. Knock on wood. So far, it looks like you did. So now what are the odds of Blake Mitchell also? Like, baseball historically is going to tell you that if Carter Jensen has done this as a high school catcher in your system, the odds are Blake Mitchell won't then follow those same footsteps. They could break the trend and have just, they found 2 guys, and that's why Blake Mitchell was a top 10 pick.
Baltimore with Samuel Basallo and
but Rushman,
and now Adley Rutschman
Yes.
looks like he's
Rushman was a college kid though.
True. Yeah, good point. Very good point.
But like 2 high school kids, Blake Mitchell, top 10 pick. Carter, you paid him $1 million in the 3rd round, so you knew that he was a little bit more than just a 3rd round pick. But the statistical history says that you're not going to have both these guys get there. So maybe they aren't maximizing the truest, highest value of Blake Mitchell right now, but they also might be maximizing the truest, highest value that he may ever have if he goes into next year healthy and he bats another 220, getting on base at 370, and it's like, yeah, he's going to be an on-base guy as a catcher, but he ain't going to hit when he gets there. And he's got a big arm, and he can catch, and he can be defense, but he's going to be a nice defensive replacement catcher, which ain't going to bring much back next July or next offseason if he doesn't ascend this year the way that Carter did. If he doesn't ascend in 2026 the way that Carter did in 2025.
And he didn't have a bad first professional year. It was fine, but also when he was drafted, I wasn't for it because the track record for high school catchers was not good. I
wanted Teal.
Yeah, I wanted Teal too, and we saw Kyle Teal make his debut with the White Sox. He was involved in that big trade with Boston with Garrett Crochet, and with Mitchell, it is fine to be bullish on a guy. He's only 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
But nowadays in baseball, like, look at how many guys are just blowing through the farm system. Like, they're 19 and 20-year-olds in AAA, and then not long after getting into the big leagues. And if you've got a guy that's continuing to struggle, it's why with like Frank Mozzicato, I get asked that, like, well, what about Frank Mozzicato? He's been there long enough now where I can't get too high or too low on what he really does. It's like he's been in Quad Cities, or was in Quad Cities, got moved to Double A Northwest Arkansas and really struggled. It's like with Blake Mitchell, next year if he goes in there and hits 215 but gets on base at 360 with the River Bandits, am I really moved by it? Am I going to be over the moon because, hey, he's getting on base at 365? Well, it should happen if you're a first-round pick, right? You should make a mockery of high A, right?
So then would you want to say his value's highest now while the unknown is still what could he could be anything?
It's a dice roll because, I would say this is the worst value he has right now because he had the broken hand and then struggled coming out off of the injury. But the worst case is...
But what we don't know is this is the worst value he's had since they drafted him, and it might be the highest value you have left in him.
Yes, because if he goes in next year and he's scuffling, gets hurt again in Quad Cities, there is no more, that's our big fish. If we're trying to be buyers and we're moving somebody, because I have no doubt in my mind that when the Royals have tried to add that middle of the order bat, Blake Mitchell's name has come up every single time.
But it was always like one of the high school
catchers.
One of the high school catchers, and the Royals weren't touching Carter.
Yeah.
So it's one of the high school catchers, and they ain't trading Carter, so it's Blake Mitchell, and I think they have been reluctant to move him because it probably wasn't maximizing the value. Where now, you have to analyze that if you're the Royals. You have to know what Blake Mitchell is going to be. And if you think and you believe in your heart that he's going to hit next year, then maybe you are reluctant to trade him right now. And maybe you trade him at July, or you move him next offseason to add another big bat or another arm if Bubic is walking, at the end of next year. Like, you have that trade piece. You don't have to move Blake Mitchell this offseason. You're not... It's not a have to do that. What they do have, though, is the option on the table to do that because of Carter's ascension. At least that's there that they could do that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. docket moving forward. Cynthia at 11, and then we'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and players. We'll see which players come to the podium. Not a player, they just crush a lot. Who do you think? Who's on defense coming to the podium today? Who did we have last week?
Young Jeezy.
Okay.
He's a player.
Did we have ONL?
Yeah, he was late week.
Okay. Because that was going to be my guess, but no.
Gelati?
Could
Nick
be
Bolton?
Ashton.
I'll guess Gelati.
Bolton was available post game in New York. Not many people available on the road game.
Yeah.
So Bolton being available post game in New York, I don't know that you give him the podium, but it'll be somebody on defense because they maybe one offense, one defense.
Because they balled out like a bad serve.
Sure.
She's done the research.
I measured the big boys' booties for like 2 years.
She's analyzed the data.
If you can keep that big booty down, like if you are a big boy, if you're very tall and you can keep your booty down low, then you are far more successful.
She's crunched the numbers, and the results are clear.
The back of booty isn't as good, as it turns out.
If she picks a dog, she'll have the math to back it up.
It's not like Travis Kelce is done. My dog is very excited about this, just so you know.
It's Cynthia Freeland of NFL Network. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll hear from the Chiefs coming up later on this hour. Right now, let's talk some NFL football, some Chiefs football. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert, joining us here in the zone. Cynthia, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I am doing just fine. I am, as we start with a little personal with you, and then we'll get into some football here, but I'm wondering how the sports fan in you is feeling with the big Lions win on Monday, but what the Tigers have done as of late and last night. How do you sort of wake up the next morning and like, yay, no?
I mean, I'm going to be very honest. I don't have, unlike Kansas City fans in general, I'm just kind of always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like the biggest surprise. I don't know. I guess my point is I have gotten to a point, maybe it's a lot of therapy, where I'm most like more grateful for having had a good experience at all than for, final outcomes, right? So, just go back to the NFC Championship game from 2 seasons ago and the first half versus the second half. I really had to learn a lesson in, my mental state and my decision making.
And you know what? The Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have made my life a lot easier over the last 7-8 years of watching sports and getting to experience things I never thought I would experience, Cynthia, and experiencing those with my son and daughter and my family that I never thought I would experience. And I'll have that the rest of my life if they never win another playoff game. So and the Royals winning the World Series in 2015, it's a decade ago this year, but still, my son.
Already? That's a really fast decade.
I know, right? Yes. All we've had in the meantime is 5 Super Bowls or 6 Super Bowls and three wins, 5 Super Bowls in 6 years and 3 wins. And my son was born 5 days after they won the World Series in 2015. So I was really
amazing.
I know. I was hoping the Royals would lose that Game 5 so that it would so the series would extend, and so then my son would be born right as they're winning the World Series. That would have been great.
You can't, it doesn't give with both hands, right?
I know. So then I could be crying and say, this is the greatest day of my life. It's like, oh, your son? No, the Royals won the World Series. That would have been a great joke, Cynthia Freeland is our guest. Let's talk some football. Monday night, great game, fun game to watch after the Sunday night national TV game. At least we got a great one Monday night. But the Ravens defense, let's talk about that. John Harbaugh's been asked about it a couple of times. Is what we're seeing from the Ravens defense, is that a product of the Bills and the Lions offense, or do you think there's some real problems here for the Ravens defense moving forward?
Well, without Nnamdi Madubuike and Kyle Van Noy, it's very difficult. I'm not saying, I actually agree with Kyle Hamilton when he said something like, one Pro Bowler does not make it shouldn't make this big of a difference. I love Kyle Hamilton's, he's just a really smart player, and his ability to break down and think through things has always impressed me. So, but I do think it, as it turns out, when you're playing a team that is also very good, these marginal differences become big deals, right? Like the tiny little edges we have in each team, or who's missing or who's not, do become huge deals. So I think the Ravens have been interesting because they've been able to put things together in pieces, but they haven't really played like 4 quarters of what I would call Ravens football yet, even in a win. So it's Derrick Henry with uncharacteristic fumbles. The run defense, usually tackling is not something that you think of when you're like, oh, the Ravens are having a hard time tackling. Like, that's just not, I can't remember the last time we said that. So it's just, it's kind of like some weird uncharacteristic stuff, but it's compounding and it's happening at the same time. And when you're playing other good teams, those little tiny things make a huge deal.
Yeah. And look, you mentioned it, Van Noy, and Matabuke not playing. And I don't know what the status is going to be this week. We'll find out with the first practice today for the Ravens, but it didn't sound like good news with Matabuke. And anytime you're talking about a neck, it's scary stuff. And look, I hope he plays, because that means everything is good. But it didn't sound like that when John Harbaugh said, that they're going to try to figure out what's going on, and that was on Saturday. That he said that, figure out what's going on still, trying to figure out so that's scary. And Van Noy with the hamstring probably isn't, I would guess is not going to play, but we'll find out. Likely, I think is going to return. But as he said, one Pro Bowler doesn't change the entire defense, but it's Van Noy and Matabuke on that defensive line. And I thought Mike Green was a pretty good prospect, and he's undersized, so the Chiefs weren't going to draft him. I thought he was going to be better, but I saw a guy that looked like a college kid going up against NFL players on Monday night. Good offensive line for the Lions, obviously, but Mike Green looked like he was a real far space from being, I think, even a somewhat productive player, and not just one of 11 on the field that is taking up a blocker at times. I thought that was really surprising to see that. And Kyle Van Noy to Mike Green is a much bigger drop-off than I thought it would be.
Kyle Van Noy, and it's amazing because it's like Kyle Van Noy after a billion seasons.
Yes.
He's not one of the younger players, right?
Right.
So I think part of that, here's the thing though, there's like a balance between when you're a rookie and you don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to give, no one is weird giving the Lions O-line credit. It just feels weird to me, but
Right.
are good. They have figured out, they remade the interior of their O-line as well. But the difference between them week one, looking very confused against the Packers, and then week three, where they had obvious, this is one of the better O-line coaches. He's a holdover from the Matt Patricia era in Detroit, one of the better O-line coaches. So making things confusing for a rookie who has had Van Noy there to teach him and has had Namdi there to teach him, without those things. So I think Mike Green will look better in the future, but it's hard because there's some drop off between you get to be in this great situation in this defense where there's some veteran guys that can teach you what to do, some guys who are really good to teach you what to do, but then when you're asked to do it all on yourself, that can be difficult too. So I think both, he will look better in the future, but got to give the Lions O-line credit for having the right sort of interior motions and, where the guards were going, what the center was doing tricked him, and what was going on with obviously the tackles are very good for the Lions as well. So I think it'll look better later.
Yeah, as long as it's not Sunday, for him. I thought, and we'll move on because I don't want this to be about, Mike Green isn't as good as I thought, because obviously there's way more to this game than just that. But the Lions in the second half started putting Brock Wright on Mike Green one-on-one. And I thought that was pretty indicative of the Lions going, okay, this guy isn't, maybe we can move some things around and we can have, our blocking tight end take him like a tackle. And he was winning one-on-ones. And I thought that was a pretty ominous sign. Good sign for the Chiefs.
Brock Wright is a really good blocker.
He is, absolutely. So, so putting him on a defensive end is not like, putting, some random Brock Bowers or Kelsey at this age or something like that on a defensive end. He's there to do what he did. But it is interesting that they changed that strategy from Sewell or whoever, and then it was like, well, we're just going to put Brock Wright and block Mike Green now.
Yeah, you do not need the firepower of Sewell on him, because the firepower of Sewell it just was a surplus. Why would you waste that? So
100%. Cynthia Freeland is our guest. Lamar Jackson said something after the game about what the Lions did, and I wonder, can this translate? Is this something the Lions are equipped to do? I know anytime the Chiefs struggle, it's always like, well, somebody figured out the Chiefs or broke the Chiefs. This is taken with a grain of salt here, Cynthia, because they scored 30 points, okay? But he was asked why he looked uncomfortable, sacked 7 times, did not look like the Lamar Jackson that was out in space and making plays. And he said, they ran a lot of stunts, they had a spy, and they played those 3 safeties deep. That was very in-depth for Lamar of saying, this is why I was uncomfortable. Now you have to go out and execute that. But is there something there? Again, they scored 30 points. But is there something there where Lamar is saying, they stunted? Maybe, I thought some lanes were open and they weren't. That's the stunning part. They spied, so I had to worry about that the whole game. and those 3 safeties were deep, so I couldn't like take advantage of them, what they're doing at the at the front of the defensive line. Is there something there that the Chiefs could mimic?
Sure. I mean, the only difference will be, where is the strength of each one of the Lions are very good at the linebacker level. That's where they're so like when they have a spy and when they bring pressure that comes from even simulated pressure. When they're doing stuff like that, that you're scared of those linebackers because Jack Campbell, which I always want to be like, is it Dan's secret son? Because I feel like they add together. They're not related, but yes, I just feel like he's like that kind of meathead, right? Like the same type of kneecap biting dude. Like, so are you going to be able to get that fear from Brian Branch? Like, are you going to, where's the strength of the Lions' strength is not up front. There is no Chris Jones. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson is very good, but there is no George Karlaftis. There is no, those are the types of things so perhaps the question is was that secondary, even with the spot, able to blanket what was they held Zay Flowers in check? So are you able to mimic that same sort of blanketing coverage? They play a lot of man, the Lions. So are you able to get that sort of relief in coverage with a different defensive structure? How is this blitz working? Not all blitzes are the same. We just say blitz and we call it one word, right? Blitz. But it means so many different things, and how the front is constructed versus the back, that's going to be the question. Is the Lions corners, they don't have a McDuffie. They have, I mean, I love Kerryon Arnold, but the guy's good for at least one DPI a game, and that's surrendering a big play. Like the question is the construct of the Chiefs defense is just a little bit different than the Lions. I think they can be very effective, but I don't think it will look the same.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that they've done so far this year is they've played so much man-to-man. The Chiefs, as in they, have played so much man-to-man, and they did it against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. In fact, sometimes leaving Noel Williams on Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown one-on-one. And they left Jalen Watson on Malik Neighbors one-on-one a couple times. And, in fact, the interception for Jalen Watson was one-on-one coverage on the outside, man-to-man, and Jalen Watson was there with Neighbors down the sideline, turned his head, saw it, and read it so well that Neighbors couldn't even get back into play for a jump ball. So that to me is it's an encouraging part for the Chiefs defensively in this game.
Very much. I'm not worried about the Chiefs defense in this one.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, listen, to be fair, you are always worried about Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. There's I'm not shading them in any way. Like, to me, it's strength on strength. It's steel versus steel. It's not one of those things that I'm not saying huge advantage for the Chiefs defense. I'm saying I'm not worried about the Chiefs defense. They will be ready. It's going to look different than the Lions, but it's not to me, that's chess. That's a chess game.
Yeah. Cynthia Frelin is our guest. So who's got the advantage, and what would need to happen in the game for one side to have the advantage when the Chiefs have the ball and the Ravens defense is on the field?
I think the Ravens defense has shown that if you get some push against them in the run game, then they become a lot more flat-footed on third down whenever there is a third down. So it doesn't necessarily, I'm not even saying in the pass game, but I'm saying on third, if you can get them into third and short, then the Ravens become far less of a scary defense. The Lions had them. The fact that the Lions had 2 drives of over 90 yards that's crazy. That resulted in points. Like, that is not something you normally see from the Ravens. So what do we learn from that? That they don't. If you can get them in short yardage situations, they don't have enough horses to handle both a scary pass and a scary run threat at the same time. Now, the run threat from the Lions, I mean, I did see Jared Goff scamper for about 7 yards. It was terrifying. But, Patrick Mahomes is good for a lot more than that. Like, I'm not scared when Patrick runs.
And as a quick aside, Cynthia, the prop of Goff over under 0.5 rushing yards, I don't typically say was easy money, but going into that game, I'm like, I'll go ahead and put the over on Goff with the pressure that the Ravens want to try to get on him. I'll take the over. And then early on, all right, there we go. Move on to the next one. Right? Yeah.
But you are afraid of the Lions running in general.
Yes.
I mean, between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, they are there's a reason that those guys are the only duo of running backs to have scored that many touchdowns in the same game ever in NFL history. So, but the point is the run game is so stout that you're scared of it. Now they're not afraid of Jared Goff moving, except for those 7 yards. But ultimately, that's going to be the question. Can there be a balanced attack where even if it's 4 yards per carry on first down, that the run game can be a little bit more effective? Without Nnamdi in, that would be helpful. That would be great for the Chiefs, because we know the center is epic for the Chiefs. Creed Humphreys is awesome. But that will be the question. If the Chiefs can establish the run game, then it's razors and margins for me in this game. So if the Chiefs can get the run game going, I'm not worried about. I love the deep pass coming back. I love the shot plays. I get it that they don't always make fans happy because it feels like they don't connect as often as you'd like. I don't care. It's like bluffing in poker. You're able to scare your opponent and make them, the threat of it creates more space in that middle level of the defense. And that's where if you catch Roquan Smith off guard or you get away from Roquan Smith, you're going to be in a much better situation. So even the threat of the deep ball, that is a huge deal for space.
And Cynthia Freeland is our guest. The Chiefs, if they run the ball, they do it differently, but also they don't. They're a completely different offense, what the Chiefs do versus the Lions. And in those two long drives, the 98-yard touchdown drive and the 96-yard touchdown drive, the Lions ran 25 plays, and 18 of those were running plays of the 25. The Chiefs against the porous Giants run defense, the first two drives for the Chiefs, the first 21 plays they ran, 17 were passes against that Giants defense that was surrendering as many yards per carry as anybody in the league. And the Chiefs still didn't even attempt it, essentially, against that. So if the Chiefs are going to run the ball against the Ravens, then it would almost have to be, Andy Reid putting on a different mask, and at the end somebody ripping the mask off and going, and I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you snooping kids. I don't know if he's willing to do that.
I don't care if it's a run, an actual run. I care if it's something short that approximates a run mixed in with it. Like, short passes are runs or whatever. I know they're passes, and if we're playing fantasy football, it's very different. But short passes are runs. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, just get yourself into third and short, or second and short. I don't even care. But, keep something in early downs consistent, because that is, to me, that's where the Ravens defense, that's where you can – the reason that the Lions were going so fast and calling their fourth down play on third down is that their defense was very basic on third down. It was a third down pass rush defense, and the Lions had the advantage because they called in two plays, and then they got him on fourth because they caught him flat-footed with a run when they were still in their pass defense.
Interesting.
So that's the type of thing where it's like, I don't actually care if it's a run or a pass, a short pass, or whatever. I care that you're getting these short yardage situations handled, so that in early downs you set yourself up well.
Have teams adjusted to how often the Chiefs run the RPO? Is it still something that can be successful, that when it first came into existence and Andy Reid was using it, College Game was using it, it was something new and fresh, but it feels like so much of their run game is based on the RPO.
Well, every team, the fact of the matter is we're almost to the point now where pocket passers like Jared Goff may have a bit of an advantage, because there are so many teams who use college-style offenses that they're almost more used to playing it on defense, right? Anything that starts off in an advantage, it's almost always because you are different from your competitors, right? Think about if a team was just whatever, suspend disbelief here, and imagine if a team's playing Jared Goff one week and then they're playing Lamar Jackson the next week. Those are two separate sort of defensive structures against those two. Well, now in the league you have more teams that look more like Lamar Jackson, so it's actually the RPOs or the college style, whatever's going on with those, they become more the norm as opposed to the outlier.
Interesting. Yeah. And so it makes it more of, we prepped for this the week ago.
That's
and
right.
We can just translate and carry that
it's
over
time
this
on
week.
task. Think about it. Time on task.
Right.
You're doing something more often. You're probably going to be better for it. If not, you're going to recognize it better, right?
Yeah.
A lot of defenses ruling out what could not happen based on an offensive structure, offensive formation. So now your time on task looking at it, you spend more time in the film room watching it. You practice it more. You see it more. And so now perhaps we're back to the point where a pocket passer has a little bit of an advantage. Maybe that's something that low-key is good for Jared Goff and his
Yeah.
half a yard rushing.
Is there somewhat of an advantage than this specific week? And the Ravens and Chiefs know each other and they've played each other, so
They
this
do.
wouldn't be like where the Ravens are going, well, we've never faced off against this team. But can there be an advantage when you say, time on task is they spent last week preparing for a completely different offense than what the Chiefs are going to run, and a shorter week this week that, had they spent all of last week getting ready for an offense that's closer to the Chiefs, it might be an easier translatable thing, whereas it's just two tight ends, fullback, running it down your throat, play action, different things where the Chiefs are going to be predominantly shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine if they had played, I don't know, Washington last week, it would be less dramatic than changing over. Also, I think no matter what, when you're playing 15, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, I still think 15 is the ultimate, joker, if you want to call it. Like, that's just going to be a problem all the time. I don't think anyone's like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a light work figuring out what Patrick Mahomes is going to do. Like, I don't think he ever is going to get that, but I think it is extra hard looking at how different, the Ravens defense has some things to address no matter what. And I think it's very tricky for them. In general, I haven't seen them, you had the Josh Allen game. That was, the offense did everything they could in that game, still didn't come up. The defense sort of let them down, right? The defense allowed Josh Allen to make that epic comeback. I don't think they've pieced together a full defensive game yet.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't do that this weekend as well. Before we get your prediction, what's a more surprising 1-2 start this year in these first 3 weeks? Is it the Chiefs or the Ravens to you?
Chiefs.
Yeah, okay.
The Ravens do this. This is like, I feel like this is
yeah,
like.
It's a good call. Yeah.
This is what they do. It's just like, it feels like, I don't know. It's one of those things where the Ravens start slow and then they're better. It almost is like they're better, like, under pressure when they have things figured out. To me, the game that was the weird one was the Chiefs, because these two know each other so well, that one, I think it was just like a bad way to get started on the season. But I think there's a lot of things to, I don't know if we know anything. It's weird because it's almost a quarter of the season, right? The month of September, but we don't really know anything about any of these teams. I think mid-October is when it'll really be weird if there's some sort of, deficit in wins versus losses, but we don't really, it's all these great teams. They take a full month to figure out their identity. And Rashee Rice obviously is a big deal in that one too.
Yeah, and Matt Nagy said last week they're still trying to figure out their identity, and he said, not just identity is like who we are, but identity even in scheme, like what we're running, inside zone, gap, outside zone, what we're trying to figure out with a new offensive line. Okay, what do you think happens on Sunday? Two really desperate teams, both trying to avoid sitting 1-3 as one of the Super Bowl favorites in the AFC. What do you think happens in this one?
Well, I still don't have to me, it's as close as they come, projection-wise. And if the defense, who's playing for the defense will make a big difference, and by that I mean the Ravens, obviously. If they don't get those two guys back, I think it's the Chiefs win at home. I can't believe the Chiefs are underdogs at home. That drives me crazy. They don't deserve that disrespect. But if those guys are playing, then it would edge it out in favor of the Ravens. For me, it comes down to the defenses are the Kansas City defense versus the Baltimore Ravens offense. I think those are equal players. If somehow the Ravens defense can get a little bit of an edge over the Chiefs by getting those two players back, Kyle Van Noy and Emdy Metabike, then I think unfortunately it's going to be a tough one.
We'll see what happens. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network. Cynthia, great stuff as always. Very much appreciate the time. Enjoy the football. We will talk next week.
Of course. Can't wait. Have a great week.
Yes, you too. There's Cynthia Freeland, the best NFL Network analytics expert. Quote, as close as they come with this one, and certainly it seems like that. The Chiefs still 2.5-point dogs. By the way, in the juice on the Ravens, too. So Chiefs are plus 2.5 and plus 100 at plus 2.5. So, there's
tasty.
They are wanting you to play the Chiefs, which is not great, by the way. Vegas is saying, they're getting points at home and you're getting plus money. And it's please put some money on the Chiefs.
I'll do it.
I'm
going to do it.
Not ideal.
I'll be dumb. I'll do it.
Might as well. Yeah, you're getting the Chiefs with a dog at home. All they've done is go 0-2 the last two times they've been that.
But you're saying that they're due.
I'm saying they're due. Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm saying. But as she said, if no Madubuike and Van Noy, then she thinks it's the Chiefs. If they both play, the edge then goes to the Ravens because that would give that Ravens defense a little bit more of an edge than what we saw them do against the Lions, but completely different offense for the Chiefs than what the Lions did. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. The Chiefs, we'll hear from them coming up in about 15 minutes or so, and that'll be Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Tyquan Thornton, and George Karlaftis. More Zone next. if the Ravens lose, they'll be facing off against the Houston Texans, two teams that were favorites to win their division, sitting 1-3, playing against each other. Like, this start to the season has been kind of wacky in that Chiefs, Ravens, Texans were favorites to win their division, and one of those teams could be 1-4. One of those teams could be 0-4. And the Texans, we might see a Chiefs team that's 3-2 if they take care of business against Baltimore and then go to Jacksonville and win that game. And it's like, oh, they're 3-2. They were 0-2, and then everybody was, the sky was falling. And then they beat the Ravens at home. Or they could be 1-3, saying it's another season-saving game at Jacksonville, the way that you felt like it was in New York, that you got to go and get a win against the Jags and win that game, and then come back home against Detroit and win that one, so you can be 3-3, getting ready for when Rashee Rice returns. But these are three teams that were expected to win their division, and they're sitting a combined 2-7.
Yeah.
On the season. That's really
because we
really
always
surprising.
knew the Colts were going to be great. We knew the Colts were going to be really good.
Tried to tell everybody about Indiana Jones. This guy is
You're the Giants.
not on his last
If you're
crusade.
a Giants fan, how do you feel right now? You're a Giants fan going,
Saquon and Jones doing what they're doing.
man, are we the issue? The answer is probably yes.
It's me. Hi.
The New
I'm
York
the
team.
problem.
Look at Sam
Me.
Darnold. I mean, how
Yeah.
bad do you think the Jets wish they had Sam Darnold?
Well, we'll see what Jackson Dart does now that he's going to be the starting quarterback. So Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo in the backfield. We'll see what they
So
look
it's
like.
great. Yeah, play him against the Chargers, not wait a week for the Saints. Yeah, let's play him against a great defense that's really solid.
Once Russell Wilson threw the ball away on 4th down,
You had to.
at that point you're
Go
going
to Jameis Winston for a week.
you're going to lose the locker room if you don't make a change at that point.
Jameis.
Famous
Go to Jameis for a week.
Jackson, he'd be throwing darts out there against the Chargers. I want them to go with Jackson Dart over Russell Wilson. The Giants have a better chance of beating the Chargers with Jackson Dart than Russell. I love it.
Not with Jameis.
I don't know, just not Russ. That's all it is.
Yeah.
just not
no,
Russ.
I'm with you.
Yep.
Not Russ.
Yep, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next.
forward to that challenge. Look forward to coming back here to Arrowhead and playing. So, anyways, with that, time's yours.
Coach, the play to Isaiah Pacheco, where he's coming back, it obviously something was going wrong. Can you kind of explain how he ended up behind, and are you trying for a lateral there, or you just kind of get blown up by what the defense?
Yeah, it was the release on it. Yeah, we weren't trying to, not once or twice, so we don't want that. But he was trying to chip on the tackle and got caught up in there, and it bumped him out too wide. So we'll fix that.
Have you seen enough from Xavier that the optimism level has grown for a return potentially this week?
Yeah.
How important is it just to see him in practice and being more than limited to get him out there on his own?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll just evaluate him and take it day by day, but he feels good, so we'll see.
How have you been going across just, this offense with, you have Tyquan and Juju, and now you bring Xavier back, and then in the preseason you're doing it with Rasheed. Just how have you guys just adjusted, basically week to week, having kind of a
Sure. I think one of the great things is that Pat's been able to get some game time with a couple guys that he didn't have a lot of game time with, between Hollywood and 80. So I mean, I think it's a positive thing. And then when the other guys come in, then he's got experience with them. So I look at the production of the other two guys, Hollywood and Thornton, and I think that's a real positive for the team going down the road here.
Hey, Andy, Pat talked in the offseason about how you told him to throw deeper, but what does it say to you about him that he's gone out there and worked on it, and now he's doing it and has had success with having games?
Yeah, well, we practiced it, so you've got to practice that. The percentages go down on long balls anyways compared to the short intermediate game, so the further you go down the field. So you've got to put in the time there and practice it, and as coaches, we've got to make sure we give him an opportunity to do that before game time. So we spent a little bit more time with that, so it'd be part of the offense, and then he could get used to these guys, doing their routes.
Coach, I heard a little bit of Travis's podcast today, so he said he's confident. The momentum's going the right way with the offense. Did you feel like after halftime, and you came back and watched everything, you guys got some good things going and brighter days ahead, regardless of who's out there with the receivers and all?
Yeah, I thought it was better the second half, for sure. Yeah, ended on you end on a good note that way, but you got to build on that. So that's you're going against a good defense, so you got to make sure take care of business this week. Make sure we detail our work.
What are your thoughts about that Ravens defense? They're obviously not happy to be 1-2 either. This is neither one of you thought you'd be right here, but what did you see from them in recent study on what they have defensively for you guys?
Yeah, well, Orr he's a good one. So defensive coordinator, and he brings guys from all over when needed, and at the same time they play good sound defense. On top of that, they've got good players. I'm sure he'll have some change-ups from what he did with us last time, which is, we'll just have to adjust to it. So, but he does a nice job with that defense. He's got a lot of flexibility there with what he can do and with the players.
What do you expect from them? I mean, they got their backs to the wall. That's the way they approach it.
Yeah, sure. They're a tough football team. That it should be a good, tough football game, and that's the way you prepare yourself. Sure.
Coach, Juwan had another penalty the other night, and obviously it looks like the knee and the ankle injuries have been an issue for him too. Is there any point where he might need a break, or do you still have complete confidence in his health and his status right
now? When he doesn't have the penalties, his percentage has been good. So he you could argue one of the better tackles in his pass protection game. So I'm conscious of that, and then I'll take care of it from there. I might be giving you a call. You're looking good.
Sorry.
Coach, there's a pretty big investment in that offensive line. Are you surprised it hasn't been more effective as far as getting the running game to be more efficient? Or I know there's a lot of factors that go into it, but they're part of the equation.
Yeah, so I thought this past week was one of their better games. Yeah, so I thought came together there and did some good things, run game and pass. Yeah.
Steve?
Coach, Juju has been pretty consistent for you guys, kind of flown under the radar a little bit. What does he bring to the
Yeah, he's great in the room as a leader, good man, and works hard, does things the right way. He's not afraid to speak up when he sees something, which is great for the young guys to hear. And then he's a good football player. He understands space. Big body. He's not afraid to go anywhere on the football field or anybody. So that's his benefit there.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Yep.
All right, there's Andy Reid as the Chiefs get ready for the Baltimore Ravens, and viewing the injuries to the wide receiver and suspension to the wide receiver room as a positive, with Hollywood and Tyquan Thornton becoming more of a factor in getting that chemistry down with Patrick Mahomes, playing more with him, and he said they're better for it. So when you get Hollywood back, or Xavier Worthy back, which hopefully is this weekend, and Rashee Rice in Week 7, you've had this time with Hollywood, you've had this time with Tyquan Thornton, and now your wide receiver room is much deeper than you expected it to be. Everyone will practice today, so that is certainly good. Chiefs seem to be relatively healthy heading into this game, and we'll see what happens with the Ravens and things like that. But Jawaan Taylor, Andy Reid, without the penalties, he's one of the better tackles in the league.
Is he?
I disagree. And also, you can't just simply take the penalties away, because it's been 3 years running now that we've seen illegal formations. There was also a false start that was not called.
Yep.
Thankfully. But it wasn't called. It'll be called. And it can be at an inopportune time. The illegal formation was at a tough time. It was 3rd and 12. Patrick Mahomes scrambled for 14 yards. Illegal formation, 3rd and 17. Quick little dump off to Noah Gray, I believe, and then a 48-yard field goal.
Will it have to come from Patrick? You know how he basically got Wanye pulled? Is it going to have to be Patrick saying, this is not happening, we can't not do this anymore?
Here's the thing. What were they seeing from Kingsley last year that said he's the starting left tackle? And what are they seeing from Jalen Moore that's saying he cannot be our right tackle over Jawaan Taylor?
Yeah.
And do I trust that they're seeing the right thing? Because, again, they saw Kingsley and said, left tackle.
That's
We're
our
starting
guy.
the season with him. And then 7 quarters later, that guy will never play left tackle for us again. That guy is a guard, and we're going to play him at guard. And, in fact, it's so bad that we're going to move our guard out to left tackle and bring in a backup guard to play guard, because we can't even get from Wanya Morris what we want to get from our backup tackle. So our starter and backup, the guys we were having battle for the starting left tackle position, both are inadequate enough to not play left tackle. We've got to go with Joe Thuney. And Jawaan Taylor, it's like, so what does he do to get a spot on the bench where Jalen Moore is, as opposed to Jalen Moore was signed to be your starting left tackle? You had confidence enough that Jalen Moore could start at left tackle for you to protect Patrick Mahomes. I mean, at some point, you just got to pull the ripcord and say, Jawaan, if you don't fix the penalties, you're going to the bench. They did it his first year with the Chiefs. Couldn't really do it last year because, again, who were you bringing in for him? Their hands were tied.
If you get 70 or 80 more penalties, we might pull you.
I
Okay,
know.
Jawaan, 70 or 80 more, and we're going to have a conversation.
Totally get that. I understand where that question, where that would be brought up. I get it. I understand it. I just think that last year he could have picked up penalty after penalty after penalty, but they weren't going to go to anybody else because they were already having issues on the left side that you're not then going to create more issues on the right side. And they were talking about him playing through the knee injury last year, that it was like, this guy's not electing to have surgery to go on IR because we have an issue at tackle. He's fighting through it. We'll also give him benefit of the doubt that he's fighting through it. We'll live with some of the growing pains. Whereas this year, you don't have to. Unless you feel like it was a mistake to sign Jalen Moore to that contract. If you think it was like this guy is not what you thought he was going to be, that would be the only reason at this point to continue moving forward with Jawaan Taylor. Because in that game against the Giants, it wasn't even a, hey, without penalties, he looks fine. Brian Burns is good. These, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, they're good. But Jawaan Taylor's paid a lot of money to block those players and not get knocked on his ass quickly.
So you're telling me
I'm not.
that the Chiefs gave a bad contract to an offensive lineman?
I don't know if they did.
who they thought initially was going to play left tackle?
I don't know if they did. I hope they didn't. But if Jalen Moore is never going to play this year and Juwan Taylor keeps committing penalties and getting beat on pass blocking sets, then I think they're saying that if they're not going to go to Jalen Moore. You know, at some point, you're going to have to protect Patrick Mahomes and have him trust the offensive line a little bit more. I mean, I don't need to continue to see an annoyed Patrick Mahomes when his tackles are letting him down. Last year, that was the case. And this year, tackle. Because Josh Simmons got beat and held. There's the bad play from Josh Simmons in the game. He got beat by Burns, I think it was. And he held him. So he got called for the penalty there. Juwan Taylor lined up in illegal formation. False started on a different play that wasn't called. And got beat 3 times quickly.
I mean, how much did we rip on Kadarius Toney for having an illegal formation?
Constantly.
Right? For one time.
Yeah. And he was just offsides.
And I get offensive line versus wide receivers, but
still, we worried his first year, Juwan Taylor with the Chiefs, that it was going to be an illegal formation at a time that costs them dearly. And it ended up being Kadarius Toney lining up off sides at a time that cost
I think it did cost them dearly, at least. I mean, they beat the Giants, but I mean, it took away a first down.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't cost them to where you go, wow, they now lose a playoff game. Or what would have happened if he didn't line up in an illegal formation in the second quarter and they had to settle for the field goal when it would have been a first down, and that's 4 points, and that changes the course of the game, and they lost that game. Like we didn't go that route. They win against the 49ers in the Super Bowl, and Juwan Taylor lining up correctly or not was not going to make up for the
Eagles,
dominant team last year. So it hasn't happened to this point, and the illegal formation happened in a game where you end up winning by 2 scores. Does it take it happening in a game where it can maybe cost you the game, where you go, enough, you're benched? I hope not, because it shouldn't get to that. But again, I get the frustration by fans going, well, he's going to keep committing penalties and they're going to keep throwing them out there. I'm hoping, and maybe this is just wishful thinking or complete and total naivety on the Chiefs' standpoint, but they didn't have anybody to go to last year, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that that's why he was never put on the bench. That's why this year could be different when we hear Matt Nagy say, it can't continue. It's got to stop. He knows that. Andy Reid, without the penalties, he's one of the better tackles. I got to take care of the rest. As in, get him to not commit penalties? Because it's year 3.
I still don't know what it means that they had Jalen Moore go in for the final 2 drives. I mean, it was a kneel down and a 3-play run, but it's also for Josh Simmons to the left side. I don't know if that means anything. If that is, hey, Juwan, I know I'm not pulling you right now, but this could be you next game. I don't.
We just wanted to get Jalen Moore some reps in the game without saying that we were benching Juwan Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything to take away from that. If that's like a small sliver of,
I don't know. But you can't keep saying as a coaching staff, well, he knows, and he'll get. That's on, like Andy Reid. I'll take care of the rest. He's one of the best tackles, one of the better tackles without the penalties. It's my job to take care of the rest, meaning the penalties. Okay, it's year 3 now, so essentially, Juwan Taylor is Nick Saban. Hey, Juwan, I need you to line up on sides and in a legal formation. I'm not going to, so quit asking. I mean, it's Nick Saban halftime.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Quit asking. This is what I do. Deal with it. Live with it. Because as you said, Andy, when I'm not committing those penalties, you're going to take my pass blocking away? Because it was 1 illegal formation? Here's Patrick.
Meeting room, so you had guys hold you accountable for throwing the ball deep. Could you just kind of share what you did in the offseason to make sure that you were chucking it deep?
Yeah, no, I think just with the guys that we have, I've kind of put it on myself to give guys chances down the field. And even though we haven't performed offensively as a whole, I think the entire year so far as efficient and scoring points the way we want to, we've kind of made an emphasis to give guys chances down the field to make plays, and guys have made those plays. And so that started in training camp, that started in OTAs. Is like I told guys to hold me accountable, and I wanted to hold myself accountable that I give the guys the chances to make plays, and they're proving that they can make them.
How's it feel to wind up now? I mean, you got a lot more of the big wind up throws.
Yeah, I mean, it's still something that I have to continue to get better and better at. I think that there's more opportunities to make these plays in the games than these first few weeks, but I think it just gives me the confidence when guys like Tyquan come down with the catch that he did, that I can keep forcing the ball down the field and let them try to make plays. And we'll continue to get better and better at that, as well as with the rest of the offense. But, I mean, it's always super exciting when you get a chance to throw the ball down the field.
Patrick, you've always dealt with next man up with the receiving core. Over the course of your career, you've had to deal with that a lot. And just this year, you practice a lot with Rasheed and St. Joe, and then you go on, and now Tyquan's leading, Hollywood's leading Brazil. Just how have you been able to maintain each receiver that comes up, or each receiving unit that you have for that available that day, to make sure that you keep firing, to keep within the system? With all those guys who have to mix and match sometimes within their own system. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's things here and there that you have to work on, but I think more than anything, the guys are putting in the work during the week. And so I think for us, at the end of the day, whenever we start getting these guys back like Xavier and Rasheed when he gets back, it's going to make us even better because guys had to step up, and they've stepped up and made plays. And you've seen Hollywood, you've seen Juju, you've seen Tyquan all step up into their roles and have even bigger roles within the offense. And so we'll continue to get better and better as the season goes, but it'll be an important week this week.
Patrick, you mentioned Juju. He's kind of flown under the radar a little bit, but been pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
What's he mean for that?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like the leader of those guys, man. I mean, he's someone who's been there and done it. You know, he's won the Super Bowl. He's had big 1,000-yard receiving seasons. He's kind of been in all different types of offenses, and so he can be that guy that they can lean on. They can ask questions to, and then I think he does a great job when his number gets called in the game to make the plays happen, and being available whenever I need someone to throw to, and has a good feel for the defenses and what the defenses are presenting. And so he's someone that's super important to that room just in general, but he stepped up whenever we needed him to these first few weeks and made plays happen.
Before last game, you described the offense as close. As you reviewed, what signs in the second half did you see that maybe it's even getting closer to what you want?
Yeah, I think just the execution. You know, we cleaned up our execution. I got the ball out. I made the right decisions, made the right throws. I think that's the most important thing. Is like just making the throws. You know, making the throws whenever they're there, getting the ball out of my hand, letting guys make plays happen. And I did that in the second half. And I mean, the only drive that we didn't score was the one that I missed Tyquan. So I mean, it just proves that if you make the throws, that the offense can be productive and can have the progress that we want. I just got to go out there and make the plays happen.
Patrick, I know you've been blitzed more than you typically have, and what's that been like, and what's the adjustment?
Yeah, I mean, I think you see that we're able to throw the ball down the field a little bit more now because of that. But I think it's just it's a product of the teams that we played and them testing our young offensive linemen. But I think our offensive line have done a great job of picking up those blitzes and giving me opportunities. And that's why you've been able to see some of these deep shots down the field. And you got to be able to execute and showcase that you can hit those throws. And if you do that, they'll adjust, and then we have to adjust as well. And so that's what's beautiful about the NFL is you have to be able to adjust on the fly and make things happen.
Patrick, I know you get together with the coaches the night and go through the plays that are there. Andy gives you input. I mean, how much do you take out or put in, and how much is really your choice on what plays end up going into the actual game?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Reed gives me kind of free roam. If I don't like plays, to just tell him. He'll take them out of there, and we do a good job. They communicate with me throughout the week. I mean, it starts yesterday or even the day before on Monday. Of just kind of talking about stuff that they're thinking about, and then I communicate kind of what I'm seeing, and then I trust in Coach Reed that he's going to make the game plan the way that he has done for a long time now, and he always makes great ones. And so I think more than anything is trusting in him and then telling him whenever I'm not feeling the play that I'm not feeling.
Has it evolved over time? I mean, when you first got here, everything's a pass, everything's wide open, and maybe now you're a little more cerebral in what you're. I mean,
stuff evolves for sure, just because I've seen more and more defenses and know the team more and more, and know what we're trying to do. I think more than anything, I think the trust that he has with me has gotten even more and more just throughout the years. And a lot of those times, especially when I go to the sideline there before like a timeout or kind of like the review with the Tyquan play, and then we talk about it, and I tell him a play that I like, he'll call it, and he has that trust in me that I'm seeing it right out on the football field, and he gives me the chance to go out there and make it happen.
What kind of boost is it to have Rasheed back in the boat?
It's huge, I think just having a guy that you work with every single week, all training camp, all off season, and then having him back in the building, he always has a smile on his face, and you can tell the guys, they like him. And kind of like Juju, he's kind of been one of those guys that's been here, and he's won a Super Bowl, and even though he's young, he can kind of be a leader for those guys in the room of how we work and how we get after things. And so Obviously, he can't practice, but he can be in the meetings and listen to the stuff that we're working on, and it definitely gives a boost to the whole receiving room and the whole offense.
Nate?
Patrick, you're one of the more veteran guys in the league now. I know this is a little bit off topic, but you spend a lot of time in between the games or talking to the referees. I just wonder what your conversations like with the referees and what are those back and forth nature in the middle of the game?
Yeah, I think more than anything, they're just communicating different things that you're seeing, and you might ask kind of like the alignment stuff or like the motion type things and the timings and stuff like that, just to making sure that we're doing everything the right way and doing everything the way that we're supposed to. And so that's stuff that we continue to get better and better at. But just keeping an open dialogue, because those guys are trying to make the game go as smoothly as possible and want us to go out there and let the players dictate the game. And so we try to just have that open communication with them. And I think that's kind of like every QB in the league is that you have those communications like that.
Lebo, you guys ran the ball a little more efficiently with the running backs this past week, and as we watched the Ravens on Monday, they were a little susceptible to run. Maybe I mean, it's just I know it's cat and mouse every week. It's going to be a little bit different here and there, but you feel like the run game has some momentum and can be a bigger part of having success and balancing everything out.
Yeah, I mean we want to be balanced. I mean I think every team in the NFL does, and I thought this last week we did a better job of running the ball, and I thought the offensive line did a good job of doing the run blocking together and the chemistry building between them. And I know that you saw Monday night with the Ravens, but they're a prideful group, man. I don't think they're going to be very happy with the film, and they're going to come out with the mentality of stopping the run. So it'll be a great test for us. And so it'll be able to go up there and be able to run the football and then be able to pass off of it. Will be important to us. Stay balanced and go up against a team that's going to be as hungry as we are. So it'll be a great football game this weekend.
Matt,
how much, Patrick, in the last 3 games, and especially in the second half, have you felt that? You talked about the offensive line and the job it's been doing in pass protection, that you've been allowed the ability to push your eyes downfield and maybe look for some of those targets. Do you feel that increasing in your trust in that ability?
100%. I mean, I think that's been huge. This last defensive line that we played had all type of first rounders, all type of talent, and I thought the offensive line did a great job of giving me time to throw the ball down the field. And it's my feet, you tell, are a little bit more calm because I understand that these guys can protect and they can give me time to make these throws, and I'll continue to get better and better at that. Instead of hitting 1 to 2 a game, making that 3 to 4 and then 5 to 6, and then defense will back up and it'll help us out with other stuff within the offense. And so I'm just excited for where this offense is going. I know it hasn't been the perfect product that we've put out there so far, but there's a lot of good too.
Well, last 3, Nick, Sarin, and then Vi. Go, Nick.
Yeah, Patrick, with the Ravens offense that you're going against, if you're hitting 30 to 40 without a problem, how do you approach this week with your teammates and from an execution perspective and mentality-wise out there on the field?
Yeah, I think for us, we got to start faster. I think every game we've kind of said that we haven't really got to do that. And we were moving the ball early in the game last week, but we're settling with field goals. And when you play teams that are really good and have dynamic quarterbacks like the Ravens do, you got to turn those into touchdowns. And that will not only put pressure on them, but it unleashes Spags to be able to do what he wants to do. And you always see when we get leads, it's like he's great. He's a great finisher. He's a great closer of being able to give you different looks and stuff like that. And so we got to take pressure off our defense and put pressure onto them by starting faster, and we can be better at that this week.
Sarin?
The play where the ball goes backwards to Isaiah Pacheco, is that in your head? You know he's there, and you're just looking to flip it out there, and as you turn around and the moment of having to get it out, there's almost like, whoa, you try to pull it back as you're letting it go. Like, just what was going through your head as the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I got to see where I'm throwing before I throw it. We had called a play, and you don't want those short completions in that 2-minute type tempo, and so you kind of take the incompletion, and so I kind of went to burn it at his feet. And then seeing him as I was throwing it, obviously he was backwards, and that's why I knew immediately when I threw it. But you got to just see the guy before you throw it there. Obviously, I'm trying to throw it out to him in the flat and everything like that. But I got to see where he's at. He's trying to chip and give me time to throw the ball down the field. And so luckily I was able to get the ball back. And then defense was able to get a huge stop for us there in the end of the half. But I got to be better at not just throwing it blindly, just kind of knowing where those guys are before I burn it at their feet.
Patrick, on the intermediate and deep passes, when you haven't connected, how much are you seeing passes you wanted back and versus maybe just a matter of communication?
I would say the one that I for sure wanted back was the post one before the half. I knew that Once Taekwon won, I knew that the backside guy had gotten held by the route that we had, the backside safety, and so I could probably put that ball out further. I threw it more across the field, but with the leverage that the corner had, I wish I'd have thrown it further and let Taekwon just run underneath it, probably a touchdown if I do that. And then the one that was on the 3rd and short, it's kind of just more of a miscommunication, just knowing that I would want it, if I had more time, I could have sold it a little bit more, but it was a run play, so I didn't want linemen downfield, and so I kind of wanted Taekwon's eyes back a little bit earlier, but he sees the open space, and so that's just communication stuff that we can work on, and he's in a bigger role in the stuff that he hasn't done before, and so that'll be important. I mean, obviously, we missed a touchdown, we still win the game. He'll learn from that. We'll hit next time we get the opportunity.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, there's Patrick Mahomes, and a lot of stuff there covered, especially with him talking about the offensive line, the more trust that's there, and he said if you watch, my feet were a little quieter in that game, and that's Patrick saying that after watching the film, obviously, and maybe in real time feeling that, because last week he was saying, yeah, I have to trust the offensive line. I've got to do that. I've got to do this. I've got to trust what's there and give myself more time, give them more time to do what they're supposed to do. And him now saying, well, if you saw that, my feet were quieter, which allowed me to do some of those things. Here's George Karloftis.
You guys have been to this point.
I think we got off to a little bit of a slow start the first couple weeks, and I think we showed a little more this past week. And I think we're just going to keep on getting better like we have as long as I've been here. We got trust in every single one of the guys in the D-line room, linebackers, whoever rushes the passer, and I think we're just going to keep getting better.
George, was Steve Spagnuolo and just kind of how he can evolve week by week, game plan-wise? Do you kind of marvel after the fact watching tape about how he takes away what opponents want to do?
Yeah, I mean, he's just like such a master at what he does, just in game planning, knowing kind of what the opponent's going to do, kind of, the game theory side of it, kind of, I think that he thinks that I'm going to do this type thing. He's really, really good at that. So he's incredible at game planning, putting guys in positions to make plays, playing to our strengths, and just awesome at what he does. And we've had a lot of success because of him.
And what kind of confidence does it give you knowing you got a guy like that that's going to put you guys in that spot?
Yeah, we know that if we hold the opponent's offense to a certain amount of points, that we have a pretty good chance of winning because we got 15 of those guys on offense, right? And Spags emphasizes that every single offseason. So for us, it starts with that, obviously, and then, having confidence in Spags. We've been able to close out a lot of games with a lead, and just continuing to do that. That's something we emphasize. It's putting the team on our shoulders when it needs to be, and, ultimately it's all about winning games for us. So.
That's your first game against Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
What does it take to contain him?
It takes all 11, I can tell you that. We got so much respect for the dude. Not just him, but their whole offense. Really, their whole team. I mean, they're tough. They do stuff the right way. Lamar specifically is so athletic, but he's such an accurate quarterback. I don't think he gets enough respect for that. He really could do it all. I've talked about this before. He's one of those elite quarterbacks that really can do it all. I mean, he's MVP and all this stuff. So definitely a lot of respect for him. It's going to take everything we got to stop him. So.
George, you mentioned that the defensive line has been playing progressively better the last few weeks. How much of that do you think plays into the addition of guys like Ashton and Omar as young guys in that defensive line room that are getting more reps and making more of an impact game by game?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are young. They're hungry. They want to be great, and they've worked their tails off up to this point. I remember when I was a rookie, you kind of get better each and every week, and there's all this stuff going on when you're a rookie that you don't know, so you're just trying to figure everything out. But those guys, I mean, I commend them because they've done a phenomenal job, and just adding more and more stuff, and they've been awesome.
Derrick Henry, I mean, he's the one true big back in this league. How different is it when it seems like every other running back is like 5'8" to 5'11", 200 to 212, right?
Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah.
He's the one big boy. Like, how's the preparation different, and how much harder is it to bring him down?
Yeah, I mean, when you play a guy against that, you can't make any mistakes. If one guy's out of your gap, he's gone. So it's all about being detailed. In the run game, being detailed and executing your assignment, trusting the scheme, the coaching, your responsibility, and executing. So yeah, just like I said, he's a beast. He can make all the plays. He can make everything happen. Big runs, we want to avoid that, obviously, and just executing our scheme and playing to the best of our abilities.
He hasn't been a fumbler, but he's fumbled in each of the first 3 games.
Right.
There was a lot of tape with him, how upset he was. you got a guy on the ropes. Is that become an even bigger emphasis to try to get the ball out?
I mean, that's always an emphasis. I mean, we've played him enough to where we know that we have so much respect for him. We're not just expecting every time you're gonna punch the ball out, it's gonna be a fumble, just because of what's happened recently. But that's kind of our for every defensive player, I'd say across the league, there's been an emphasis on punching the ball, and we're gonna try to do that no matter who's the back. So.
Last one.
George, when you're playing a guy like Lamar Jackson, you have to flip your mindset a little bit in terms of how you're going to rush to keep him contained versus
Yeah, a little bit. Now it's even shifted a little bit since I've been a rookie, where it seems like every single quarterback we play is such a great athlete. So you gotta contain him. You gotta have your rush planes. You gotta come under control before you're ready to tackle him and all this stuff. He can. Because if you miss, he could make you pay. So, you got to be disciplined. Like I said, it all comes down to being disciplined and trusting your assignment and your coaching. That's what it's going to take. So,
thanks, George. Thanks,
appreciate you guys.
All right, there's George Karlaftis, and he will face off against Lamar Jackson for the third time in his career. He did sack Lamar Jackson in the second half when the Chiefs were up 17-7 in the AFC Championship game. He got a sack. I think it was on the drive right after the Zay Flowers fumble, and that ended up being I think that ended up being a punt, or no, that was the possession where they ended up throwing the interception. Was that possession when Karlaftis got the sack on Lamar Jackson? So he's played him a couple times, knows what kind of player he is. And they take the approach that they have a certain number of points each week, that if they can limit the opposing offense to that, they've got 15 on the other side, and they'll go and win the game. And it's about playing as an entire team, and since Spagnuolo emphasizes that, and then just, game plan, that game theory of cat and mouse and what they, game it out. What do they think? If we do this, what are they going to adjust to that? Are they expecting this? How do they play against this? And if we go this route, what does the rest of the game look like? And Spags designing and coming up with a game plan that he didn't like in week one, but has to be pretty proud of in week 2 and week 3. And he's going to need another monster effort from him and his players on Sunday afternoon.
I know that we're not happy about week 1, but I love that Spags just owned up and was like, that was horrible. Like, I don't know what I was doing.
It's one of my worst games. And
he changed it like completely. He's like, no, I know that was bad. I promise you I'll fix it. And he had fixed it and has fixed it.
They've played so much man-to-man since then. Like, they were in this soft zone, it felt like,
yes,
on these blitzes. And now anytime they've blitzed, they're blitzing, but they're running man-to-man with these guys. Like, I wonder how much it is, Sterling, that early on he wasn't trusting the defensive backs of Jalen and whether Fulton was out there or Noel. And it's like, as the season goes along, you got to figure out what guys can and can't do. And then against the Eagles, it was almost like, well, it's, to a degree, the Dick Vermeil time to take your diapers off and go to work. Like, hey, it's put up or shut up. Like, sink or swim. I got to know if you can swim. Let's go. Let's go. This is how we're going to beat the Eagles. We're blitzing Jalen Hurts, and we're playing one-on-one. We're playing cover 0, playing cover 1. This is what we're going to do. And if they beat us, they beat us, but I'm not going to play soft zone and let A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith pick up 7-8 yards like Keenan Allen, and then hit us over the top like Quentin Johnston did in that game. We're going to take the pressure to them. And then against the Giants, they didn't have to blitz much. They got pressure, but they were also playing a lot of man-to-man coverage. They were bracketing Neighbors, but they were playing man-to-man. He let Noel Williams and McDuffie and Jalen Watson all at some point have one-on-one coverage with Malik Neighbors.
It was sink or swim, and then you found out he's got a couple Michael Phelps.
McDuffie's one of those, and Jalen Watson in that game. Like, Jalen Watson is one of the, in the first 3 weeks, you got those plot graphs with the 4 quadrants, and the top right is the best. And if you look at the graph of passer rating against and yards allowed per coverage snap. So you combine those, and then the top right is the best, right? Jalen Watson's up there with a number of really high-named cornerbacks. Now, the interception on Malik Neighbors helps.
Sure.
McDuffie is in the bottom right quadrant, so the quarterback rating is higher against him, but it's lower with the yards per route run. he doesn't have a turnover, and he gave up the long pass to Devontae Smith. That was tough. A couple of those A.J. Brown receptions were on the one-handed catch by A.J. Brown when the ball was behind him. That was, quote-unquote, on Trip McDuffie.
Sure.
Even though the pass was thrown that way because of the pressure and also McDuffie was right there, that's unfortunate. But he's been in a spot that a couple of receptions were made, but also yards per coverage snap, he isn't getting picked on a lot because he's having good coverage. So the yards are down per coverage snap. It's just he's been in a position a couple times when the ball has been thrown his way. There's been a couple of big plays that have been made by the opposing receiver, and Jalen Watson has the interception.
And again,
that helps with with your passer rating, because Watson and McDuffie are roughly the same on the far right part of the graph on yards allowed per coverage snap. But Watson is so much higher in quarterback rating against. Again, the interception helps. Goes a long way.
And because, one, McDuffie traditionally will go up against the better receiver, so that's going to happen probably. There are always some nuance to this.
Yeah, for sure.
I still can't get over Watson's ball tracking ability on that interception. And how Christian Roland Wallace, yes, but Watson especially on that one-on-one, and he played the ball better than one of the best receivers in the NFL, and the league neighbors saying, no, I know where this ball is going better than you do. We've not seen that in a Spag. Again, it's not a knock on Spags because it's a different style, and it's worked. But he's not as opportunistic of a secondary as some. I do think it's a stylistic of, we're not going to give up the big play. We might not force a turnover, but we'll get some 3 and outs. We'll make sure the big play's not being given up by us. There were some big plays made by that defense, and if that's something that is a change in philosophy or just maybe Watson's just more comfortable and he doesn't have to think about where to be. He knows where to be, plus he can now search for the ball. Because that, to me, was such an impressive play that we talk about the interception, but I think we need to talk about how he played the ball even more so.
100%. And it's almost the exact opposite of Jawan Taylor. And follow me on this. Bill Moss on Monday on A New Day said, Jawan Taylor is lining up illegally and getting an early start because between the ears, confidence-wise, he doesn't believe that he's good enough against the guy across from him to not line up that way, to not get the extra inch, 2 inch, 3 inches of advantage that's there, or the extra half second of timing advantage that's there, because playing that guy straight up, lined up, all of that, he's not going to be able to win. Whereas Jalen Watson is running with Malik Neighbors, and the ball's in the air, and he's confident that, I'll look back and go get the ball. Instead of, I'm just going to run and try to get in his face because I don't have confidence to turn my head and then still be able to be in position. Jalen Watson did, and he made a play. Here's Tyquan Thornton.
Learning the language, terminology, and just building a bond with my teammates. I just feel like I've just been doing well.
How much have you enjoyed the opportunity to play?
Man, it's fun, man. Going out there and fighting with my guys, man. Going out there competing, playing the game. I enjoy it a lot.
You're saying you're going to have an attitude there's more to do. I guess just what have the past few days been like as far as supportive messages and maybe calls from friends and family just about your game on Sunday night?
I've been getting a lot of, texts and calls and stuff like that, which I, feel very appreciated too. I love the support from all my fans and family, and I've definitely been getting a lot.
Tyquan, Patrick talked about how much your role has expanded, even from last year and going into this year. As you've been in the league a while, man, how much are you still actually learning?
I'm learning a lot. I learn every day. I learn a little bit from my teammates, taking the little things from some of the veteran players, how I could, be better at the little things and going out there each and every day on the practice field and challenging myself.
Yeah, a lot of the guys talk about how much Juju is a leader in that room. How much are you leaning on him?
A lot. He's been playing for a long time. He's seen a lot of football. Seen a lot of defensive coverages, so I ask him little things, because he's seen a lot, so he knows what's going on, basically.
Tyquan, from other quarterbacks you've played with, what's different about tracking and adjusting to a deep ball from Patrick?
Patrick, he throws like a friendly ball, so it's easier for me to see the nose of the football. Some of the other quarterbacks that I play with was great quarterbacks too as well, so they always do a good deep ball too as well. But Patrick, more on the friendly end.
And for you, what's fun about playing in this offense?
Aggressive. We want to be aggressive. We want to go out there and make plays. We got a lot of weapons in the room, in the running back room, quarterback, tight ends, receivers. We got a lot of weapons.
I don't think I've ever heard friendly used to describe the ball.
Go into that a little bit more. What does that mean?
So sometimes, like, you could be covered, but the quarterback could throw you uncovered, so just making it a little bit easier on you to make the catch. That's all.
Taquan, as much as you and Patrick have obviously created some chemistry, what do you feel like you still see things that we could be more on the same page as you go? Are you seeing that each week a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely a few things that we gotta just continue to work on the practice field, and just talking through it, watching film and stuff like that. Because when you out there in the game, the game is played fast, so you gotta sometimes just be quick reactions.
In the game on Sunday, he talked about like a throwback or two. Do you feel like he's communicated with you about where he wants you? Has that been getting more clear too?
Yeah, definitely clear. I mean, it's definitely been precise communication while we out there. I know there's one play we had a corner route. He wanted me to get my eyes back a little bit quicker in that void, and so now we're gonna hit on that next time.
We'll start with Sam over here, work our way across.
A couple things, Taquan. I wonder, just all your deep routes are not go routes all the time. In fact, most of them, it doesn't seem like have been go routes. What's just been the process of refining, deep routes that have some diversity to them?
We just trying to, do whatever we can, to just take the shot. You got to take shots in this league to, open up the defense and open up the offense too as well. So whatever I can do, to go down there and make a play for this offense, that's what I'm willing to do.
Do you find, I guess the Giants being the third opponent playing you a little differently based on the fact that you had gotten open against the Eagles and Chargers the first couple weeks?
I mean, kind of, they try to throw a little shell out there when you go in the slot so they can, kind of hollow you a little bit and stuff like that. But once you catch them in man, they got your chance.
Saran?
Taquan, you obviously were highly drafted and everything and thought highly about your first team, but it didn't click. And you look back on it and say it was, your maturation here, was not working out there part of what maybe got you to study more, or was it these coaches looked at you, saw what you could do, and did a better job of putting you in a position to succeed? Why do you think it's working now and wasn't working earlier?
I mean, sometimes it's just timing, it's always God timing. So when I was there in New England, great time there, I love that staff over there, the players there, I built a good bond with them guys, and I just been making plays. I've been working at it in practice for a long time. I used to always do it in practice, but was never able to just put it on the film in the game. So, I mean, just staying true to myself and just continue to doing the same thing.
Mackenzie?
Yeah, you hadn't posted on Twitter in like 3 years, and you posted your big catch as a message to the doubters. Just what was that moment like, and then how do you feel, having such a big impact in the offense?
Man, that moment was pretty huge for me because I know like my time there in New England while I was there, the media used to try to beat up on me a little bit bad, so I remember like just, not having the best game of my career, being a young player, going to Twitter and seeing like, the media just beating you up. So I used to get down on myself a little bit, but, just looking at myself in the mirror, just knowing who I truly am, what I'm saying? Keeping my head high, just keep pounding at the rock and, just keep working. Now, like, it's starting to show a little bit, so I just want to keep on getting better and just keep on improving.
You hadn't posted, but had you been looking at Twitter, or did you just say that's just not healthy for me, I'm not going to look for that stuff?
Yeah, it's not really healthy at all, being a young player. So if you're a young player, I'll give you that advice. Like, if you're not doing well, don't look at Twitter at all.
When you got here last year, you were around this team, right? And then you had to fight to make the team. And all of a sudden, down in Brazil, when Xavier got hurt, you had more stuff to do. It's hard to encapsulate this last 6 months from not being on a team to all of a sudden being a bigger part of it. Is it just like validation that you could do this, or how do you kind of look at it?
I mean, it's a process, man. It's a process. You just got to put your head down, work at the little things, and just keep on working until, you prove yourself right.
Thanks, Taquan.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, there's Taquan Thornton, and a thing that he said there in that press conference, in his meeting with the media there, I really liked, and it goes back to a conversation we were having during training camp as to why I thought there was an appropriate level of skepticism with Taquan Thornton. And with more information and data, that skepticism or opinion can change. And that's what we've seen for the first 3 weeks. I'll explain coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. I'd mentioned going to break Tyquan Thornton and skepticism that I thought was an acceptable level of skepticism because I had it as well with Tyquan Thornton in training camp. And I can't remember who it was that tweeted it out, but they tweeted out a video of 2024 training camp in New England of Tyquan Thornton catching a couple of touchdowns, and the description on the video from somebody that covers the Patriots was essentially Tyquan Thornton having a great camp, and then the responses were like, yeah, but what does this mean? It hasn't meant anything so far. And the criticisms that were there of Tyquan, or at least the assessment of Tyquan, was, yeah, this guy in practice does amazing things, but it has not translated to actual games. Like, we've seen him do this in training camp. We've seen him do this in joint practices. We've seen him do this. People have talked about it in practices in the regular season, but nothing happens when he's actually in the game. And asked about his years in New England and now here with Kansas City, what the difference has been. And he said, making plays. I was always able to do it in practice, but not in a game, and now I'm doing it and putting it on film. That's incredibly aware for Tyquan Thornton, especially given that's what my skepticism was about Tyquan Thornton was, look, this is 3 years running where people are talking about Tyquan Thornton having a great training camp, but it hasn't meant anything yet. And I love that Tyquan Thornton is like, what's the difference? As I'm actually making the plays now. And I wasn't doing that. I've always been able to do this in practice, but I haven't been able to do it in a game. Maybe he would have done it in a game in New England this year. Or maybe with Kansas City and the chances that he's getting and the confidence that the Chiefs are putting in him now, maybe that's the case. Maybe fresh start.
Fresh start Mahomes instead of at one point Mac Jones, and then it was Drake May.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just a fresh start.
I guess Brissett actually, I think, thrown there as well.
Right. But I think that was incredibly aware assessment of Tyquan Thornton of what the reputation was for him, which apparently was, I guess, a pretty accurate reputation for Taekwon.
The honesty was pretty cool. Yeah, I love hearing that from players and the understanding of, hey, yeah, I struggled.
Yeah, it was my fault.
It was on me. Yeah. I'm not blaming anyone else. It was on me.
Yeah. George Karlaftis, very complimentary of Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And then Patrick Mahomes going to the connection with Tyquan Thornton and saying that, he's got to put it on himself to give guys more chances. We've heard that all off season, and trusting the offensive line, all of that. But what he said, talking about that deep throw to Tyquan, the 38-yard catch that he made, said that gives me confidence when Tyquan comes down with that catch, which to me says, you know what, I'll throw it again.
Yeah.
I know that he can come down with that. I'm going to give him more chances, which gives him more chances to come down with a play like that, which is obviously more opportunities for a 40-yard or longer, chunk play for the Chiefs that they just did not have last year. If Tyquan doesn't catch that, does Mahomes anytime soon give Tyquan a one-on-one sort of, I'm going to put it up there and let him make a play against a defensive back chance? If I threw it there and it was a diving catch and he dropped it, then I threw it and gave him another chance and he couldn't come down with it. Against the Ravens, I can't really do that. We're not going to waste downs against the Ravens. Now it might be, Tyquan's down there, I'm going to give him a shot. Xavier's down there, I'm going to give him a shot because we're making these plays.
Yeah, it's a great call. Yeah. I think it's a really smart, astute observation, Jason.
By Patrick Mahomes. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More zone next. All right, hanging out on a Wednesday edition of The Zone. Talked to Cynthia Freeland earlier in the show. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Talked a decent amount, surprisingly, of baseball in the first hour just because of the Detroit Tigers collapse, the surge of the Cleveland Guardians, and what we're seeing here in the last couple of weeks from the Royals and how that then translates into the offseason and some moves that may or may not be made. Mick Schaefer comes up at 1 o'clock. Let's play this clip from Dan Orlovsky. This is from Get Up this morning, and they're talking about the Chiefs getting ready for the Ravens game and the Chiefs offense. And this is, I think it's, the question is in this as well with Dan Orlovsky. So here's the conversation they were having about the Chiefs offense.
Dan, you look skeptical. You don't think they get better?
I don't think better enough to go and contend truly with where we should properly place them expectation-wise. I feel like we are just minimizing our expectations for this football team and this offense.
Their offense can't get back to where it was last year, as moribund as it looked most of the time. They still made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they made their Super Bowl because they won all those close games. The likelihood of them doing that 2 years in a row is unlikely. I agree that, yes, it can get better. I remain adamant. Respectfully, I don't think this offense is going to markedly improve unless there are schematic changes with the way they go about playing football. You can only RPO yourself so much.
I don't disagree with the last part of that.
And respectfully.
Yes, when he says dramatically improved, unless there's offensive scheme changes, you can only RPO yourself so much. They can improve with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, but if the question is, can they dramatically improve? Are you going to dramatically improve by doing the things we've seen them do schematically the last couple of years? I don't think anything that he said there was unfair.
And those dudes coming back isn't affecting the run game.
Mm-hmm.
They're already seeing light boxes now. I understand the thought process. Well, with those guys coming back, you'll see light boxes.
Yeah.
No, you're already seeing light boxes and can't run effectively, inefficiently. So, no, why would that change?
Yeah. Unless the change would be in an RPO. You pull it from Pacheco and you hit Rashee Rice, who then picks up 12 yards on a quick little slant instead of handing it off to Pacheco. Now your RPO is the pass, but it's the run game, and you're picking up extra yards because Rashee Rice is not Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
But that goes to the
12 instead of 6.
Right, but that goes to the then personnel is the difference.
Yeah.
And I think what Dan Orlovsky is saying, personnel can make a difference, but if you're talking about a dramatic change, it's going to have to be some scheme along with personnel. We'll take a timeout, come back, still catching up from the press conferences. One more segment to go here on this Wednesday edition, and then Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. More Zone next. All right, we'll talk with Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director, coming up at 1 o'clock. Tonight we got Hawk Talk at 6 o'clock with Lance Leipold. Going to play a clip with Mick Schaefer. Some college football, we'll talk with him as Mike Gundy is no longer the head coach of the team that he pulls for in his personal life. But a clip of Shane Beamer on Josiah Trotter from Sunday's teleconference with the assembled South Carolina media, and Eli Drinkwitz from Tiger Talk last night weighing in on said Shane Beamer comment. So we'll talk a little bit about that with Mick Schaefer and some Rotten Tomatoes. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone coming up next.
so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on the Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Yeah, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. One more hour to go on this Wednesday edition of the show. Mick Schaefer hanging out with us, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, sports simulators, a bar and grill. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide.
You think they actually collide there? Are they running into each other right and left?
That really is
I don't
just
think there's
mixed.
so much space out there.
I can't
No
picture a
collisions.
better tagline for not just Advent Sports Blue Hawk, but also
Advent Health Sports at Park at Blue Hawk. But you get there.
But Mick Schaefer as well. Like you are where sports and entertainment collide. Like you're an entertaining sports guy.
That's it. They've collided inside of me.
Mike Gundy is no longer inside at Oklahoma State. He's on the outside looking in.
Yes.
He has been let go. Have you?
It's a collision of thoughts on that as an Oklahoma State
That's
fan.
right. Have you put your resume in to be the next head coach at Oklahoma State? Have you applied for that job?
I'd be so bad.
Well, it couldn't be much worse. It's like
that's losing no, I think I would have lost to UT Martin. That's the only game he's won his last 12.
What about
I would have been
1-11 in the last 12 games?
He's lost his last 11 games against FBS teams, and they won't win a Big 12 game this year. So that streak will get to 20.
Oh my
So
God.
no, hear me out. They might beat Baylor. This is the time. Like in the NFL, you know, the coach gets fired and the team rallies and they win.
Circle the
I
wagon.
hope so. It's like, remember when the Packers came in here undefeated in December and Romeo Crennel's one year,
right?
And the Chiefs won. I'm like,
Jeff Saturday won a game. Remember, it was a disaster. And then Jeff Saturday, the Colts, they won.
Yeah, that's right. He was the coach.
Antonio Pierce won. I mean, like.
Yeah, there's enough mechanisms in place that you could just throw
Rich
in a
Bisaccia,
head guy
yeah.
that could walk the sideline for 3 hours, and you could fall into a win. Yes,
So,
but this team will not win another
Do
game.
they make another run at Bill Self?
They should.
Yeah,
they should.
to coach football
They
this
should.
time. I mean, he's turned him down basketball. Why not give a football a
Because
shot?
people, and I'm usually on this side of the argument, like, okay, you've had a guy here for 21 years, and the last year and a half been bad. You're really going to punish him for that? Usually I'm on that side of the argument of like, step back, take the big picture. But they stepped back and they fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
They were in the Big 12 championship game 2023.
Yeah.
They got
a
smoked
yard
by
away.
Texas.
They were a yard away from winning the Big 12 against, what was it, Baylor?
Yeah, that was like 2020.
But
though.
2020. But I mean,
Yes.
they're that far removed from like they were a Big 12
had
champion.
they won that game, they would have two games gone their way that night. They could have made the playoff. Those games didn't go that way, so it had a seat that soothed the game, the result there.
Mm-hmm.
But they made the Big 12 championship game 2 years ago. They brought back 20 of 22 starters and went 3-9 last year. Went 0-9 in the Big 12, and you're like, what? And then
how?
I have no idea. Well, it's a portal thing. It's a Gundy kind of not embracing the new landscape of college sports thing. And then this year they bring back 0 starters, like 60 new players, 14 new coaches. Every coach on that staff is brand new except for one, and it's Sean Snyder, Bill Snyder's son, who's in his second year as special teams coordinator. That's it.
It sucks for those coaches that made that move to let's head to, honey, we're moving to Stillwater to be the head coach or be an assistant coach with Mike Gundy.
It
Don't
was
worry.
the biggest Hail Mary ever.
He's been there 21 years. We got job security.
Yeah,
moving there.
exactly. It was the biggest Hail Mary ever, and it landed, finally landed, and it landed flat Friday when you lose to Tulsa.
Yeah, so you're totally on board with the.
I'm on board. Like,
are you on board with the
conflicting-
timing though? Like
I mean, when's good?
Right.
When's good?
Yeah, that's what I was sort of wondering.
Everybody always like, well, I mean, there's probably never a great time. Go ahead and get out ahead of this. You've already got UCLA and Virginia Tech, who have fired their coaches.
Florida's going to eventually,
and be on the forefront of the next coach hiring cycle. Is it the best way for Gundy to go out? I don't think so. From what I heard, the rumor is that they gave him the option of, playing out the year, kind of having this tour at the end. But I don't think that's the right call for him or for the school.
Also, I'm sure that means that he doesn't get the full buyout if he does that. That
I bet they probably came together and said, if you do this, we'll still take care of it. It's 21
It's usually
years.
more lucrative to get fired. You're right.
It
yes.
was. You get 15. I think it was 15
Yeah.
versus 10.
Yeah.
Well, they could have been if you
To not
play
coach.
out, but it could be if you play out the rest of the year, we'll give you the full buyout.
Yes.
Like we want to do right by you. It's been 21 years. This is not a cut it off, get the hell out of here, we hate you.
Not every, I would say most of the time, not everybody's cutthroat and and just it's all about the money. There is loyalty and there are relationships that are formed there and factor in. But yeah, I'm fine with the timing. This is going to be a throwaway season, and the next coach you hire is one of the biggest hires in school history, because this is the best coach they've had in football history there, and I would say the second best in school history outside of Hank Iba. Now, Eddie Sutton's up there for basketball, but I mean, what he did there, they are, since 2008, they've won the 12th most games, 12th winningest team in college football. And had they not fallen off a cliff last year, they could be top 10. They would be ahead of Penn State, who's a couple games ahead of them. So, I mean, and he got to a bowl game every year, 10-win season, something like that, maybe more. And, I mean, you were kind of knocking on the door of the playoffs at our championship game a few times, and you were right there sniffing and tasting and touching it one time,
right.
And they got knocked out of your hands, knocked out of your mouth, Sterling.
That's right out of your mouth. You get that. You get that Big 12 championship right out of your mouth there.
Right out of your mouth.
Sterling.
Whoa!
I think the timing of it. It's like, what do you gain? I think what you gain is, and maybe you could do this behind the scenes while he's finishing out the season, but you can start reaching out to agents to kick the tires and see what the interest level is of these coaches that, you got time. It's like, is there an interest at all? So we don't have to waste our time when the season's over, when the coach is over. And then when that coach is asked, say, well, I haven't had any conversation with them. Well, no, you haven't. Your agent has. But and so you can start to look around and see, all right, what pool are we going to be swimming in so that we know who we can make our full court press at when the season is over, so we can go and get our guy and get out ahead of it before other teams are also making moves, and then they're just now putting out feelers. We know who's interested, who we can get, and what it may cost. So we can also rally some people to say, this is what it's going to cost to buy out that coach from his contract at that school, and what it would cost to get him to sign here and be the head coach here. You can get all that information ready to go by the time the season's over. That would be the advantage to it. But the question also, could you not do that if Gundy were playing out the string and was, a lame duck coach at the end of the year? Because whoever, like, you're going out and recruiting, but nobody's recruiting for next year right now. Who you're recruiting as a junior, like was it the running back that just decommitted, a 4-star kid? There's a couple of them that have, I just saw it come across my timeline that he had been on a visit with a couple of schools and then announced his decommitment yesterday after they announced the firing of Mike Gundy. But it's like, that's expected. If he plays out the string, you're also not going to have him going out and recruiting for next year.
Yeah.
So you're not gaining an advantage in recruiting or anything like that. I don't know.
Maybe, and you mentioned the assistant coaches, gives them more time to, get ahead of things and reach out to their agents and to other schools and their contacts, like, hey, I might be looking for something. Keep me in mind. But I mean, I don't know if it's the school's favorite, but the fans, they have a clear-cut favorite, and he is Zach Robinson. He's the offensive coordinator of the Falcons, former Oklahoma State quarterback, and they might be ready to get rid of Zach Robinson there since they got shut out by the Panthers.
Well, he would fit right in. He would move. He would just fill right in. It's
yes.
easy. It's like Cags when he got brought up. He fit right into the lineup at that
100%.
time. It went along well. The NIL thing, I think, is interesting, and the transfer portal thing is certainly interesting. I want to play this clip. This is both combined. This is the first clip is Sunday teleconference with Shane Beamer day after the game that he had with the, kind of like Andy Reid does his Monday press conference. Shane Beamer does that on a teleconference on Sundays after the game. And then the second part of this is Tiger Talk last night with Eli Drinkwitz. Here we go.
40's a really good player that they spent a lot of money on in the portal to get him there, and he was hard to block. I mean, there were times where he just recognized the play and got to the ball carrier before we could get there.
How good was Josiah Trotter? I mean, he played unbelievable.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, there was a comment about that we paid a lot of money for him, and I would say that was money well spent.
I would say that was money well spent.
Good investment there.
Josiah, we're blessed to have you, brother.
Oh, I didn't even see him there. Yeah. Hey, me and him will split the tab tonight since he got so much money. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead.
Should we go?
Yeah.
Drinks on drink. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Everybody in favor of that?
Yeah.
A couple of guys already lined up at the bar.
Well, the homecoming skits are tonight, so we don't have as many students. So we, the faithful that are here, let's buy their drinks.
But if we go for 2.5 hours, Chuck says that they will be here at 9:30.
Yeah, we are not going for 2.5.
You cannot. No. You can barely get 30 minutes with me in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't mind you. I'm just not going to leave the tab open that long.
So there you go. There's Eli Drinkwitz.
Where was he at?
I don't remember where the show originates from, but I guess the skit was last night, homecoming skit night, so there weren't any students.
You guys
fun.
invented homecoming.
Yeah,
as the story
did.
goes.
We did invent homecoming.
Good for you.
Yep.
So this, I guess, skit night is a big night. So he said there weren't any students that were there, so it was a little bit cheaper for him to pick up the tab. And by the way, Eli did hand his credit card to the server. Was like, yeah, go right. But I'm not keeping it open for 2.5 hours. But he also had the fun comment that, well, Josiah and I are going to be splitting the tab since he's got so much money.
All skits are typically you go to either Jesse Hall and you would do it on stage there, or you would go down like Greektown and you'd have all the
You were
pumping.
100% all those skits, weren't you?
Yeah,
I did some skits. Yeah, it was fun. It was great. Skits were great.
Right.
You do some fun nonsense and
how long does it take you to come up with the skit and then actually practice it and then perform it?
A long time. So you have a fraternity and a sorority paired together.
Okay.
And so you're working together, and you come up a lot of times.
Is there a lottery, like a draft of fraternity and sorority? Like
it kind of is like a draft.
First pick.
It kind of is like a little randomness to it, and then you'd go, and a lot of times the sorority, they're the ones actually the brains behind.
Oh, really?
How are we going to?
So you're saying a group project? The girls are doing the work, and the guys are just sort of there for the ride.
We're there for the ride.
Interesting.
And
Shocker.
Were they getting paid? 70% of what you guys were getting paid?
For 130% of the work?
Actually. Well, they got free beer. They got free beer and free parties, so I think they made out okay.
In college, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
They made out with you. They did not make out okay.
Not okay. It's not okay at all.
I wish.
But so Eli, I will say, one of the things that Sterling and I were talking about the other day is 2 years ago, so the beginning of 2023 to now, Missouri's got the 4th best record in college football. And they are 12-5 in the SEC, 25-5 overall since the beginning of the 2023 season.
Oregon, Ohio State, and Georgia?
Georgia, yeah.
Three better,
and Missouri, which is, you put all of those in the same historical
Blue Bloods,
category
baby. Right.
of
The
college
Blue
football.
Bloods.
Can't tell them apart.
But going into the 2023 season, it was, it's about time for Eli to actually do something on the field and not just us be talking about his comments and how funny he is and no problem taking jabs at coaches. And to Shane Beamer in South Carolina, well, I guess everybody on our roster is beating South Carolina now, huh? When it was they had lost 4 years in a row to South Carolina and he got there. I guess everybody's beating them now, right? Hey, Eli's fun. He's got the sign at the, the Missouri game. And it's like, okay, well, how about you start doing some stuff on the field that people can talk about? And now he's combining that with doing it on the field and having no problem taking some jabs and being funny. And I'd say that's money well spent. But
how much do they spend to get every game at home this year? Because that
had
to be
it's
a big
money well
check.
spent too. Yeah. But go ahead.
Well, I get 2 comments.
Yeah,
to
go
that.
ahead.
One is Mike Gundy kind of vindicated there. What did I say whenever he said his comments about Oregon, right? I'm like, Mike Gundy always speaks the truth. A lot of times it's inconvenient truth. It's stuff people don't want to say, but they're thinking. And here we go. I heard another coach had a similar comment of like, this team's spending money or whatever. I'm like, I knew it. All these other coaches are thinking that.
I knew it because
he's
Tulsa,
just the only one that
Tulsa
says
makes so much money. Tulsa's NIL budget's so much larger than Oklahoma State's.
They got paid to come there.
They do get paid.
This is my point.
No. My point is Gundy is separating those games from like an Oregon game where they're not getting paid.
Then why do you? No, I know, but as far as NIL, it's still like, yeah, Oregon's NIL budget is crazy compared to Oklahoma State, but let's be real, Oklahoma State's is crazy compared to Tulsa. I don't hear him complaining about the NIL
because they're getting paid. Is the difference. And I'm not saying he's not splitting hairs, right? But that's what Gundy was meaning. And I think and then Beamer can't help but make a little comment like that.
Because they lost out on him twice. He chose West Virginia over South Carolina and Missouri over South Carolina. So I think that one sticks in his craw, and that's why he brought that one up specifically. They're paying him a lot of money because Beamer went 0 for 2 in recruiting Trotter.
Yeah, same deal with the UT Martin. Yes, O State's budget's way bigger, but they're using that budget to pay UT Martin to come in and lose. Barely. My second comment is these coaches are now listening to coaches' shows because the Oklahoma State Gundy's comment was in a coach's show.
That's right.
Beamer's was at a coach's show.
It was a teleconference on Sunday.
Okay. They're listening to everything now. So, like, these guys aren't safe, right, among the alumni in the bar. Nobody listens to the coach's show. No, these opponents now are listening to it and ready to snipe back.
My comment on this is I think is Shane Beamer, when he says that, is it sour grapes that he didn't get Josiah Trotter twice? Is it sour grapes that, Missouri is just Eli's now 5-1 against you? Or is it Shane Beamer saying, well, they paid him a lot of money. Wink, wink. Hey, Virginia Tech's open. Florida might be open. Well, they paid that guy a lot of money. We tried to get him twice. We lost out to West Virginia that paid him money, and we lost out to Missouri that paid him money. And, boy, it'd be nice. Imagine if Trotter was on our side and not their side, what the difference in the game could have been. A 9-point game. We couldn't run the football, and they were running all over us. Boy, you take that guy out there. Is there some message, which I think there is, message being sent to boosters, donors about, well, they paid that guy a lot of money. Sure. And we didn't have as much money as some of these other schools.
I think there's one option, but I don't think it's it. It could just be as a compliment. Like, that guy's so good, he demanded that much money. That right. Oregon roster's so good. Man, they made that
$40 million.
Yeah. I doubt that's
on this guy.
I doubt that's the option, but I guess it could be.
So we heard Shane Beamer say that Sunday about they paid him a lot of money. And then on Monday's press conference, we hear Matt Rule in his press conference was asked about the depth at running back that's become an issue for Nebraska. And he said, I'm quoting here, he said, I think there's a lot of things to that, right? Like, there's money. Some people paid more money than I had. So that's the reality of it. I just, I say that, like, you can probably hear a little tone in me because, like, there's about 3 people who can say that question to me because they've given me money to go get players. When people say to me, like, I'm worried about the D-line. Do you know how much a D-lineman costs nowadays? To go get him in the portal? All right, 1890 is right there. Write a check, and then you can talk to me about what you think we should do. 1890 is their collective. That's back-to-back days where a coach has talked about other players getting paid an amount of money. And in theory, Nebraska really shouldn't have a coach that's begging for money. In the Big 12, they got it, and they are the it thing in Nebraska. I mean, it's the professional sport
here's
there.
The deal.
As opposed to South Carolina, is like, you got Clemson, you got South Carolina, you got some other sports, they got South Carolina baseball. Like, you're not going to have all your boosters say, we'll pay this for a linebacker. And Nebraska, Matt Rule, we'll pay that for a linebacker. What do you need, man? But he says there's 3 people that can tell me about our roster that I'll listen to. And if you're not writing a check, I don't know.
People, just boosters?
Must be the guys that have given a lot of money to help out with the roster, those 3. But 1890, which is their collective, 1890 is right there. Go write a check and then let me know what we're doing.
Here's the problem with no guardrails and no reins and just no salary cap on this whole thing. You can spend $20 million, which is a ton of money on a college football roster, and you could have another team spend $40, and that's double, and that's just a huge difference. It's like, well, we thought we were just going all in.
It's also baseball, though, too.
But if you're spending $20 million, then you need to go and win. If you're spending that money, like I bet Nebraska spends not as much as Michigan, probably. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they got some transfers. They got Williams Winara. They got all
those guys from KC now.
The Lisa North crew went there. Mosey, is up there. So they paid, some pretty. They got Merritt out of Kansas City as well. Like, those guys weren't free.
But you got to be good, and that's why I don't always love when coaches do that, because then you can always push back and go, okay, well, what about that $1 million player who's sitting on the bench who's done nothing this year? Nice $1 million you spent on that guy. You could have spent it on Joe. You could have spent it on Trotter, but you spent it on someone else.
Well, I mean, the coaches have just started doing this because this is a new problem.
Well, no, and because it makes them look less bad. If you're the coach and you can blame it on, well, I don't have enough money, so that's why I'm not winning, well, then that makes you look less bad instead of saying I'm not using my resources correctly.
God, imagine what Bruce Weber would say today about the players he couldn't get.
Oh, insufferable.
I mean,
he blamed it on location, social media, why they weren't able to recruit, anything but Bruce Weber. I was working harder than everybody else, couldn't get recruits because of circumstances. Drumtain gets in there, starts getting players. But there's excuses everywhere that you can make as to why you can't land players, or the players you have that aren't winning when that's what you're getting paid a lot of money to do, is to take that roster and go win games.
Yeah, I guess, but I have to imagine, I mean, that's the whole deal with Oklahoma State. You need a young guy with energy and not guys that are already, like Gundy had already gotten before the portal and NIL, he had already gotten kind of lax in recruiting, and they were always in the 20s or 30s in recruiting, and they'll get the 3 stars, they'll coach him up and get better and all that stuff, but he wasn't going to waste his time and the energy and go out and have, talk, kiss babies and shake hands and learn names and schmooze all these kids and then
shake babies and kiss hands.
That too, and then have 90% of them say no to you, right? But now you're having to do that to your own roster every year. You're having to do that to all the guys in the portal. I mean, how old does that have to get? I mean, what does Brett Veach every year have? Maybe one guy that's could threaten to hold out. And in college football, where you're, for the most part, they're hiring some GMs now, but you're the coach and GM. Mm-hmm. You have 30 dudes every year coming saying they want more money. empathize with these really wealthy coaches and having to go through that each and every year, because I see it. I think fans see it, and it stinks having to learn a brand new team every year.
When they lost their 2 top rushers from a year ago to the portal, and Matt Rule continued and said, I say that respectfully to our players about, if you want to comment, then write me a check. We didn't have the money. He said, we're going to have to spend a lot of money to keep this roster together. And he said, we have a good roster. He goes in, talks about Mekhi Nelson, says that Isaiah Mosley, they're still trying to figure him out, move him from wide receiver to running back. So they didn't go out and add running backs in the portal. When they lost a couple, they were just going to go from in-house. But he did, as he was finishing his comments, I want to get these out there as well, said, I think you can see how we recruit. People want to come to Nebraska. Recruits want to come to Nebraska. But, we just have to have what everyone else has, and we finally do. Troy's worked his tail off. The Pete family has worked their tail off, and revenue sharing now. We have maybe not what 10 other teams have, but we have about what everyone else has. And so, I don't want to start playing respectfully out there, I don't want to start playing the roster game because it takes a lot of money. There's a $40 million roster in college football right now, 4-0. So I'm just saying.
Oregon again?
Oregon again, apparently. But
no one knows if it's a real number, but because Gundy said it once, now it's just going to be, it's a $40 million roster.
Unless it's a well-known,
Gundy says the truth.
Unless it's a well-known thing around college football, or it's one of that's their roster is the money. It's fat. Or there's you and your friends are you see here he got a 5 on his ACT, a 5, and then everybody else he got a 5. Did you know that guy got a 5? Well, he got a 21. Yeah, but he got a 5 though. Come on, it's a $40 million roster. Is it 40? Yeah, dude, I did the $40 million, and then it starts spreading, and everybody says 40. But also with Matt Rule, if you say we have what everybody else has now, except maybe 10 teams that spend more, we're right there with everybody else. It's hard to say that and then go, well, running backs? Well, we didn't have enough money to go and get running backs.
That's my point.
Well, then it's just your allocation of funds. You felt like other people were more important. Missouri felt like Josiah Trotter was really important. South Carolina spent money on players. They probably could have pooled together money to outspend Missouri on Josiah Trotter, but they probably wanted to go in different routes.
But they signed Jacoby Ellsbury. They got Ellsbury instead of that's what it comes down to.
They signed Hunter Renfrow.
You used your money wrong.
Take that $7 million for Renfrow, and you can use it somewhere else. I know you signed the wrong free agent.
And if you are saying there's 10 teams, so you're 11th, then why are you not top 10? Why are you not top 15? Are you saying that you're not a good coach?
Well, he's saying there's 10 teams that have more.
Same pool.
We're in the same pool.
No, I get that, but then you're basically saying you're not ranked in the top 25. So then what you're saying is, well, I'm not one of the good coaches. I think that puts so much pressure. That's how I would take it. If I was a fan of that and that's what they said, that to me is such a lame excuse.
Well, yeah. Also,
I think Beamer in South Carolina, it's such a lame excuse. You're South Carolina. It's not like you're sitting here going, we're Tulsa, who doesn't have the NIL fund. You have funds.
I also don't know where Missouri would be if Eli Drinkwitz's first couple of years were happening now at Missouri. Because 2003 happens, and they go on a run where they would have made the 12-team playoff. They finished number 8 or 9 in the college football playoff ranking that year, so they would have been an at-large bid. And then they're able to go and attract more players in 2024. They continue winning and go double-digit games again, which then opens up more purse strings, which to go get Coleman and Trotter and some other players. So now Missouri's sort of up and running where the purse strings can open up, where if you've got a guy that's 12-12 in 2 years, Eli, we'll give you some money, but I'd like you to go out and prove that, you're going to know what you're doing with these players that we're going to be buying. Mm-hmm. Eli's shown that, so I think you'll have boosters that'll be more willing to write that check, where Matt Rule and that funny sign at Arrowhead against Cincinnati that we're so close to almost winning. Or
it was the shirt. He said, we always
always win.
Almost always win.
Yeah, we always almost always win. And if that's the feeling of we're giving you the money and you keep losing these close games, you start winning, you know what? I'll start writing more checks because then I know that it's going to the right place. I don't know what Eli would be right now if the first couple, if 24 and 25 or 23 and 24, I should say, were his first 2 years. And it's this guy's 12 and 12. And there's a lot of money out there. Well, I'd like to have money for this or money for that. Because early on, Eli was challenging the fans to show up, right? And the fans were like, yeah, give us something to show up for, Well, now they're showing up. They gave him something to show up for. Now they're spending money because he's shown that you can turn that into a good team. But Missouri without Trotter and Coleman and Hardy, not nearly the team that they are right now if they had somebody else in those spots of Coleman and Trotter and Hardy. in college football, you pay the money, you get the players, but you also then have to go and win the games. They're doing both right now. We'll take a timeout, come back. Rotten Tomatoes next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's get to Rotten Tomatoes here. Mick Schaefer hanging out with us, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Who wants to go first with Rotten Tomatoes? Who wants to go first? Go first.
I'll go first.
I'll go first and second. Can I just get mine out of the way?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Or we can just start with Sterling. Sterling, go first.
Let's do that.
Oof.
All right, let's see if this...
That means I'm last. That means I got to be leading because I can't get any points in the last one. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go.
Oh, boy.
Found video footage tells the tales of 3 film students who've traveled to a small town to collect documentary footage about the Blair Witch, a legendary local murderer. Frightening turn. Students lose their way in the woods, and then they hear bad noises. The Blair Witch Project. This was...
Scared everybody.
Yeah.
Because there was the rumor, like, this is real
It's
footage.
real. This is real footage.
They put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing was, like, for like a little bit, it was the people who filmed it, they're either deceased or missing. We still haven't found them.
No idea. And then I saw eventually, like, a couple of the actors showed up on Jay Leno. I'm like, oh, they're alive.
Wait
so
a
I
minute.
guess they're okay.
How did that happen?
We found them.
It took like $85 to film, too.
Yeah.
It was really cheap, and it made like $248 million.
Yes.
You're like, it was good for
Well
them.
done.
And apparently the people who were in it got paid like nothing.
So it should be.
So
I thought it was going to a Tony Rich project, and boy, the difference there of what I thought.
I thought it was a Blair Kirk.
concert. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great concert. I love this guy, a really good songwriter. Tony Rich project, and there was Blair Witch project, and that was not what I was expecting.
Have you seen the Blair Kirkhoff project? It's
No.
a sequel. It's really good.
Love it.
Just as
Great
scary.
stuff. Oh my goodness, yeah.
All right, we got to hurry a little
he
bit
gets
here.
to the
We took
bottom
a
of
very
that.
long first break
Gets
again,
to the
so we'll
bottom
have
of
to
that.
go. But the Blair Witch Project.
Okay.
Tomato meter.
It's a great movie. I don't know if critics would think it's a great movie. It's kind of artsy, as in it is all filmed by what
Artsy.
looks like old cameras and camcorders. I'll say, 75%.
Echo Darcy there. I think critics are looking for different things than what Blair Witch had. I'm going to go 54%.
Oh man, I agree with the people on the podium with me here. I'm going to go 78.
You are the highest.
Yep.
And you've won 86.
Whoa,
Yeah,
they liked
right.
it.
86.
It's like
well, that's
Mikey
why.
Day.
Dead wrong.
It was supposed to be a small thing. They went to Sundance, and it was like, it popped off. Like, oh, I guess people like
That's
this.
right. It was a great dance they had. What's the what do the fans think there, Mick?
And that was what? That was 86,
Six.
something like that. Fans are going to be up there, maybe not as high. I'll go 80.
83.
I'll go 86.
You son of a gun.
You said 80? 57. You barely got it.
Got
23.
it.
Got it. There
Got
we go.
him.
Wow, the critics
Nailed
liked
it.
it more than
The
the
critics loved it, and
Knocked
apparently
that out of the park.
I'm shocked. Over
you should be.
250,000 reviews, and
People don't like scary movies. That's
No, they
something
don't
you
like
got to take into
they're scared. They
consideration.
get scared of
scared.
that.
Darcy,
Scared
your
of
movie,
scary.
first one.
The entire planet is thrown into mayhem when millions of people disappear without a trace. Nick Cage is in this movie. It's called Left Behind.
Okay.
Okay.
Left Behind. That was the position Sterling played in baseball.
Yeah, I was right behind.
Oh. What do the critics think of
I was
Left
a
Behind?
better baseball player than you by a wide margin, guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Well, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
when you're
sure.
telling the story.
Yeah, that's why I didn't play. I played left out.
It can't be good. I haven't heard of it. Nick Cage has done all the movies. I'm going to
every
go
other movie.
64.
I was going to go like 31%.
Big margin.
Yep.
59.
0%.
Oh, nope. 31. I'm out. That's
0%.
and 0 points.
Nick Cage had a 0% movie. That
Wow.
seems.
All right. I'll go first
score
with
was
the
Left
fans.
Behind.
I'm going to give an 8.
What was it? A cult classic. 21.
Oh, crap. Sterling, I just opened your like
8
11.
and 21.
I'll go in the middle. I'll go 15.
It was 19%.
No, you
21.
That's a cult classic to me.
nice.
Classic to you.
19% higher. That's a cult classic.
Here we go. 1-1-1. Darcy without a point yet, but mix up first movie.
In honor of Mike Gundy, we're going to do The Naked Gun.
Oh, yeah.
The original from the
Okay.
Files of the Police Squad,
Yeah.
released in 1988, starring Leslie Nielsen, not Liam Neeson.
Oh yeah.
Are they related?
It's
completely
father-son.
different names, but yeah.
Father-son in the movie, yeah. I will say that the critics liked it. You know what? I think the critics don't get the slapstick humor. I'm going to say the critics were like 59%.
I think they got it.
I hope they did.
83%.
I hope they did.
Give me 76%.
88.
Damn it. Yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, they usually like, oh, that's just dumb and
But
dumber.
old comedies, I feel like old comedies,
Yeah, can they still review nowadays, or are they just
Yeah,
taking
and
like
they're
that
still-
years?
extrapolate. How long has Roger Ebert been doing this for? I mean, hundreds of years.
I think he's
He's
dead.
dead, so
Yeah,
he's-
so
so
I
he's
mean,
done.
it's- yeah. So
Oh,
he
did
hasn't
he use
been-
his name
No,
on
no,
stuff?
Siskel died. Did Ebert die too? Siskel died first.
One of them died.
was
Yeah,
surprising,
for
yeah.
sure. And
How did he
both
get
of
that
them
job? He's like, no, I'm the movie
eventually
guy. That's me. Somebody else get a different
was
job.
it.
I'm the movie guy.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's how they
Back then,
What did
dibs.
what did the fans think of the Naked Gun? Sterling.
84%.
Winner.
85, 86?
No, 84.
Damn it.
On the nose?
On the nose, 2 points.
I'm back. I got a shoe kicked at me by Mick, so I knew it was good.
You haven't.
You haven't seen the Naked
No,
Gun?
I've
have you?
seen Naked
Okay.
Gun. I love Naked Gun. Yeah.
4 to
I
1 to
seen
1.
The Naked Gun. It's a good movie.
Yes. 4 to 1 to 1. This is going to be tough for me to come back now. All right. So my theme is around the Detroit Tigers collapse / the Guardians comeback / where they're at right now. So this is a movie. A film producer who owes money to a mobster tries to accidentally kill his aging movie star for an insurance scam so he can pay off his debt. But he soon begins to realize that the movie they are shooting is a masterpiece in the making with Robert De Niro and Tommy Lee Jones and Morgan Freeman. It is The Comeback Trail.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it, but a lot of big name actors.
Right. This was
What year?
from. It was from a year, for sure. I'll find
One
it,
of
but
I don't know. A lot of big name actors, but not a movie I've heard of. That's not a great sign. 47%.
I guess it was released.
65%.
It's released this year.
This year?
Yeah, it says February 2025.
Oh, shoot, then I'm going to be off.
What'd you call this?
The Comeback Trail.
Oh, is this Chiefs maybe?
No, this is the Guardians Detroit with the collapse
gotcha, yeah.
and where they're at. What did you say, Sterling?
I said 47 because I didn't know it was
Michael,
this
what'd you
year.
say?
65%.
65, 47.
What do I do? What do I do? I'm going to go. You had 60 what? 7? I'll go 70.
31% Sterling is on fire.
Just go with
is
your
on
gut, baby.
fire. The
I
critics went with 31%. What do the fans think, Michael?
42.
52.
De Niro and Morgan Freeman ran it. They're going to win some fans over. 61%.
What did you say?
52.
What did you say?
42.
40.
Doesn't matter. 79%. Sterling gets it right.
We're back, baby.
6 to 1 to 1, Sterling, with our second round. That was a really good round for you. We got 4 movies, 6 points out of it. Sterling's second movie, We Can Need to Hustle.
Writer-director Steve Oderkirk acquired the little-known 1976 Hong Kong karate flick Savage Killers, then seamlessly blended portions of the film with new material he was directed to create a wild, off-the-wall comedy feature film. He redubbed all the scenes.
Yeah, I bet he did.
It was done.
Just say the title.
Yeah,
It was
just what's the
done
title? We
in
gotta hurry.
Chinese, and he
Just
dubbed
got-
English over it.
Great.
Kung Pao.
Yeah.
Enter the Fist.
What do you say? What do you think, Darcy?
I'm going to say, I'll say 76.
I don't know. I didn't even know this was 66.
60.
You guys were 13.
Damn it.
I told you they bought a movie and dubbed it
Yeah.
over with English.
That's true. It's more
Kung
like
Pao,
Mystery
but-
Science Theater.
But was it a cult classic?
That's a great
We're
question.
about to find out.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes or no at 42%.
I'm going to say 20%.
I was going to say 25%.
What'd you say?
42.
No one gets it. 69%.
What?
It was a semi-cult classic.
What?
Yeah, it was a really, really.
That's a great way for Sterling to win, is that he has that
Yes.
some
Blocking
nobody
other
gets-
people, yeah.
That's great. That's a good idea. All right,
Ridiculous movie.
Darcy, your second movie.
This is my second theme, but mainly my first theme was Juwan Taylor being a massive penalty. The movie's called The Penalty.
Oh, great,
And it's a movie with Lon Chaney and Charles Clary from
Sort of name me too.
1920.
1920.
they like those
the
movies,
year of
though.
our Lord. What do the critics think?
I have no idea. 50%.
67.
No, they like old movies. 79.
83%.
Yeah.
This is Sterling's round.
Sterling
He's going to
is-
make up for like you losing the last 10.
Sterling
The
is
last
on
month
fire.
had been a
Sterling's on
disaster.
Fire. All right, so the fans don't really care about it. I'm going to go 53.
The 17 fans that watched also enjoyed it. 82.
Oh, no. 75.
Had 500 ratings. 77 was what the fans thought.
Got it.
Got it. Oh, Mick got
Nailed
it.
it.
I was close.
Schaefer.
We were in the right process.
Yep,
I
process
was
over results.
writer processing.
Mick, second movie.
Second movie in honor of Mike Gundy. We're doing Top Gun.
Yes.
Again, original.
Nice.
Yeah.
1986.
Okay, I'm going to say that is 87%.
82.
I'll take 72.
72 wins at 59%.
What?
59%.
Critics are dumb.
I thought that
all
was
right.
a horrible guess.
Yeah, what are the listener or the viewers?
We're sticking with it. 82%.
Is it a cult classic? You get it. It's 83.
Oh! I know ball.
All right, last movie, Sterling's up 8-2 to 1. When college coach Herb Brooks is hired to the helm 1980 U.S. men's. It's a miracle because that's a miracle. The Guardians are in this. What do you think of the critics' Sterling miracle?
91%.
82.
86.
80%. Darcy got that one, and the fans, Darcy.
96.
88.
If you're an American, you love this movie, but not everyone's American. 91%.
90%. Sterling got it right. So Sterling got 3 points. Everybody else got 2.
Yeah,
Sterling barely won this
beat
one.
us.
was
Nice
out of
job.
what, just barely was it close?
won.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
we'll break. to Hawk Talk with Lance Leipold tonight at 6 o'clock. Then the Take with Andy Sweeney, 7 o'clock. And then the Night Shift with Michael Darcy. Huh.
Who came up with that title?
Interesting.
Did you
It's
give
a
yourself
rerun, actually.
Give yourself like 15 seconds to think of a
really?
title?
It's been a rerun for the past 20 years, I think.
Interesting.
Just
The Night Shift with Michael
switch
Darcy.
the name of the
Let's
guy.
see. What am I doing?
Can't wait to
what
meet
am I
that
doing?
guy.
What am I doing? Night Shift.
Sure, that's fine.
I'll
just
work
do it.
on. I'll work on some titles.
Yeah, come up
I
with
need that.
a clever one like The Zone. Like really give it some
Or
thought.
The Take.
You can't do the program.
Either one.
What about the late zone?
It's already been taken.
The late zone.
Late zone.
Late
Extended
program.
zone?
The late program. The after program.
The zonier. We're zonier.
The night
zonier.
zone.
The prog zone. Prog zone.